be comfortable with myself. I don't dwell on the past because, of course, in the journey you lose a lot of money through businesses where you think you're going to benefit, but you don't, and you keep going, and that's what keeps reinventing yourself, reinventing you, even creatively. Staying in comedy for more than 15 years, because we started in 2003 at university, so this is now 18 years. It's not easy being in people's eyes for that long, and you still years and years making noise, and they're seeing, the social media practically they are like with you every second, because they're on your phone, they're following you. You meet them and they tell you about something you posted sometime and you don't remember, but they know. So you have to be agile and very versatile. That is what even is helping my other people I'm working with.
Yes.
The Kansimes, the Mpamires, the Namandas, the Tuanjes, the Zizingas, the Kemizingas, the Ninas, the Kathes, the Kakais, it's that, because we never get satisfied and comfortable. We tell them, guys, something, young guys are coming up, so what are you creating?
Yes.
So that in a way is helping us to move from one mindset. And I urge our viewers to also embrace that. Don't fear. Don't fear that you lose your job. No, the more you fear, the more you're going to be unproductive. The more you're not going to deliver. So open up, talk to your bosses, even you bosses, be friendly to your people. These are guys, if they are your friends, they will make you more money because you are the guy who's going to get a bonus bigger than theirs. So you embrace them and you work together, you do magic. You will be transferred to another country. Your salary will be tripled when you make them your friends. But if you make them enemies, you won't. So evolve with them. You're leading humans, just be with them, talk to them nicely, and you will see the magic it will bring to you.
We saw the French president and the French people open that summit with a dance from the African lady and one seemingly looking like Italian, and then the African dance was on stage and everything was about that. And in that moment, what was it trying to communicate to Africa and to, the creative industry?
Thank you so much. I mean, being African and being in that room, you could say it was interesting, it was vibrant, and it was welcoming. And anyone who had come in and may have felt a bit cold warmed up. The ice was broken. It was possible to now be open, fully open, and feel when you open an event with the kind of music that makes you move, get off your feet, and sweat a little bit. The conversation thereafter is fully open.
Yeah.
Nothing's held back. So that was very interesting from that point of view. But also the fact that those who may have been in France for the first time suddenly thought, wait, I'm from Chad, I'm in France, there's a Chadian musician on stage. Or I'm from Bujumbura, I'm in France, there's a Bujumburan dancer on stage. And thinking, wow, I feel seen, I feel heard, I feel welcomed, I feel at home.
Yeah.
That's the message which everyone could basically feel. But at the same time, the fact that you had people from France who are not from an African origin joining in and having even more fun than we're used to having to that same music meant we're all one family. And that was wonderful.
Sylvester Kabombo? Are you Ugandan? If yes,
Yeah,
what are the values that define you as a Ugandan?
Sylvester is a Ugandan rap artist from the duo commonly known as Sylvester and Abrams.
Yeah.
We've been around for a long time, from the early, from the earlier steps of the hip hop culture when this whole thing was just beginning, like from the 90s, to the 2000s, doing different things behind the scenes and on the scene. I do a lot. I do a lot. Yeah.
Okay. And from the ancestry point of view, if somebody is looking for you, are you a Ugandan? Which part of this country do you come from? The country now has too many people.
I know. I come from the central.
Okay.
Well, I come from the central, but as far as I know.
Yes.
As we understand, there are so many intermarriages now.
Yes.
You say you're from the central, then some people are like, no, but you don't look like from the central.
Yes.
You look like you're from the Eastman West and stuff like that. So, but as far as I know, I'm from the central.
Yeah.
Some people push me different.
Yes. So central being the Buganda.
Yes.
Yes.
Uganda.
Thinking that, okay, if I go to school, I'll get, and the guys who went to school in their generation, the generation of our parents, got jobs.
Yes.
Those are the top CEOs you see in banks, bank manager and everything. That was the generation then.
Yeah.
But then as we were growing up, because our parents were not so keen in regards to seeing how generations change.
Yeah.
Our generations were changing, but for them, they didn't see that it was changing.
Yeah.
In regards to the jobs were no longer there. Because when we left university, you couldn't get a job anywhere. You couldn't get a job in a bank, even if you're an accountant. You couldn't get a job in a law firm, even if you're a lawyer. You couldn't even get a job in a hospital, if you're a doctor. So now, the issue was always, you have to be this, I want to be a lawyer, like, and then most of us got lost there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and yet the world was changing. Yeah, so now the world has drastically changed. So now the jobs are not going to be there anymore that those guys are thinking. So I looked at myself definitely in the eyes of my parents, because they wanted me to be a lawyer, to be a teacher. And those are the first two courses I put in my S6 to fill for university, law and education. Then accidentally I was put drama as a third option, just because remember when you're filling those forms, you have to get the course with the high points, then you do to balance, to be able to balance.
You go to the medium one, then you go to the very low one. If you don't get this one, this is what you get. Yeah.
So that's what I did. So I did put law first, education second. Drama was just a by the way to fill the space. I put a bachelor's degree in drama. I go sit my exams, results come back, and I've been admitted on government scholarship for bachelor's degree at Makerere to do drama.
Yes.
I was confused. I almost changed to social sciences, because then peer pressure. Hey, you're going to do drama, what will you do? Where will you get the job? So there was I was in a mental dilemma. I even picked the forms. But on my way to go change them, I met the professor who was the head of department at the music, dance and drama department I carried at that time.
Yes.
He was called Professor Justinian Tamsuza. He's still there to this day. So he explained to me what I can be and what I can achieve if I did a bachelor's degree in drama. And he told me actually, a bachelor's degree in drama was a professional course, and social sciences was a flat course, albeit so it was done for someone to switch from a professional course to a flat course. That is where I stood firm and said I'm going to do drama, and this is what has become of me. So
on that note, were you funny from the beginning as a child?
I've always been funny. I've always acted. Because of my size, I'm short. That's why you see I come for me to stand out or to be felt or to be affair, so I had to develop that humorous bit of me, because you can't impact like in Giants. If my hobbies were like you, no one would see you. Every time they'd be talking, they would either give you ngolo, but because of my humor and my over talking, so they always loved me and kept me around. So that's why I developed that side of me.
Wow. Annington, that said, and then did you ever see yourself becoming who you are today in life by any chance?
Yeah. Not what I've become today, but I always thought I would be successful no matter what job or profession I did. Because I've hustled a lot. I've been a tax conductor, I've owned taxis, I've owned border borders, I've quite a lot of kiosks, I've owned Rolex stores, I've owned mobile money joints, I've owned telephone, you understand? So it was about being successful and living a comfortable life. So I knew that at whichever profession I would take, whether I would be on the street, whether I would be, I thought I would be somewhere. That was my drive ever. I didn't know how I would get there, but I knew for a fact if I stood on my principles, on my hard work, on my focus, I knew I would somehow make it in life.
Wow.
Yes.
And how do you feel today where you are today, having gone through this journey?
Eddie, it's a long story and long journey.
Yes.
And we're still going, not that we have reached.
Yes.
We have not even reached half.
Yes.
It's just, but we have to be appreciative to God.
Yes, yeah.
Because not all our peers or achievements are like us, especially in the arts.
Yes.
Where we're trying to pioneer, to spearhead, to lead a revolution, to professionalize the arts. You've been in the journey at least for many years, and it's been hard because we even we're talking before we came about content.
Yes.
The guys who should be buying our content, I want us to give them money
for free
to
and
run, which is crazy.
Yeah.
It only happens in Uganda.
Yeah.
So this is the lobbying we are taking up with the leaders. It should stop because we are killing our culture. And now we're getting a lot of garbage and junk from abroad. Our young children are watching things that happened 20 years ago, 15 years ago in Asia, in India, in Philippines and everything, in all radios and TVs, in particular, those Philippine soaps and series. The government is sleeping, not knowing that our culture is being buried. Within 10 years, a generation will be dead. They will be watching Baku, and they will know more about the Asian cultures than they know about the Ugandan culture. And they will know more about the Nigerian cultures than they know about the Ugandan cultures. And eventually that's why you see then the other bad practices that the government is fighting when it's too late, when they're already now infiltrated in people. So we are on a journey to tell government, wake up. We are the new kings. Content creation is the new gold. Even by the time they start exploiting that oil, it may be desolate, may be useless. But our creativity, it is on the point. It is everywhere. Nigeria is earning more money in its ICT technology entertainment industry than it is in oil. Many countries are doing. America is doing the same. So these are the things that we are lobbying, telling government, wake up. We know you are old, you don't understand these things, your generation is gone, but there is a new vibe in the world. Guys are becoming millionaires just because of creativity. One simple thing, something viral, their life will never be the same. So we're trying to plug a lot of stuff, which is not easy, but once we start somewhere, we're going to move. We're going to move leaps and bounds.
Wow. Well, welcome to the CEO Bench, Annington Bujingo, right here in the studio, of course, talking about creativity as the new CEO on the block. The man who is leading a group of young people straight from Makerere. And of course, they are now on the continent itself. What a journey, what a transformation. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, the CEO Bench will continue from the leadership, change management, and transformation. Eddie Okila, Annington Bujingo, share your comments right there. We'll be right back after this break.
Even people are stuck in their own ways. For people who have had a chance to, say, work out of the country, you're dealing with people from different backgrounds, different cultures. Their view of the world is different. You know, you cannot change that. The best you can do is get into that space and find a way of navigating through that. So I don't believe that what I've learned necessarily is going to go into, say, a big organization like Stanbic and change it. If it may guide me along the way in terms of how to navigate, in terms of how to influence the leaders of that organization, but not necessarily kick the front door and change everything. In fact, I think that's disastrous because you may just end up going backwards. So I think for me is allow yourself to learn from the environment and then adapt and change from within.
Okay.
Yeah.
A lot of time we see people, Daniel, who go into organization and just start changing, and you find people flying from this organization to another and says, "Man, the new boss was come.
Correct.
I can't stay there."
Absolutely.
And this happened.
Absolutely.
Is it they themselves who are a problem, those who are running away, or actually the bosses come and want to change everything? Have you ever been in an organization and people have viewed you like that? And if yes, how were you able to deal with it? If not, had you learned these tricks before going inside there, so that when you arrived, you are more warmer to people than more, cold to other people?
Yeah, I think in most cases where, and we've seen this even in Uganda, where a CEO comes and tries to change everything overnight, and the organization suffers. You lose your talent. The good people leave the company, they go to other organizations. Your numbers start going down. It's a no-brainer. The good ones are the ones who quickly realize, oh, this is different. I need to adapt. I mean, I always hear people who have worked in Tanzania. Tanzanians are different. The way they do things at their pace and how they
shift and move things,
relate among each other is very different.
Yes.
So if you come with your speed and and forcefulness, you'll get a culture shock. They'll edge you out slowly in their nice way. Before you know it, you've left the company. I remember earlier back in our breweries, we had similar people who used to come from South Africa at the time. Because Africa is obviously very fast-paced. It's about push, push, push. And a lot of them suffered. In fact, a time came when they said, you know what, this thing is not working. Let's empower now Ugandans. That's how you guys came through.
Yeah. Welcome back from that break. My name is Eddie Okila and this is the CEO Bench. In the studio is Annington Bujingo. Now, you are in for some really great ride. Do you desire to be a great person in life? Are you struggling to be successful in life? What is it that you're doing to reach there? You cannot be there by yourself unless you learn from those who are already moving, those who are already on that journey, those who are either halfway there or they're on top or they're coming down. Those are the people you need to learn from. Do not spend your time with the chicken when you want to fly. Hang out with the eagles because you'll learn how to fly. All right, the CEO Bench is here to bring you such stories. And of course, this morning, we are talking to Annington Bujingo, who is the CEO of Fun Factory Uganda. Of course, a comedy, house that is already in the African, continent, supplying content of making you laugh every single day. Annington, welcome back to the program.
Thanks, my brother Eddie.
Great. And we want to just dive into it quite straight away. We want to take you straight to the leadership question, Annington. You are a man on the rise, and you are nominated as the next CEO. People think that you are rising to the top, and you are leading a group of people who are also having great aspiration. As a team, you're all growing. Of course, like John Maxwell often says, anyone can steer the ship, but you'll always take a leader to chart the course.
I know. It's the most difficult bit.
Exactly. Yeah. So I want to just ask you a question, first of all, on the leadership. On the leadership question, Annington, what is your understanding or definition of leadership?
For me, based on creatives, or even because I've been in very many different positions of leadership. Yeah. Leadership is a friendship with the people you are leading. Without that, you can never have everything. an open friendship that is two-way, not one-way.
Yeah.
Two-way meaning that, of course, because you are the leader, you are the one who steers the philosophy, the direction, of course, being hard on people, but still, you're not an island, or you're not the only one with a brain.
Yeah.
The people you're working with also have brains.
Yeah.
They think, they see things in a different perspective. So you have to give them that benefit of the doubt, where they also come and talk to you openly and genuinely.
Yeah.
Where they tell you, you know what, MD, this is happening, you're doing it, you're telling we're doing this, but we think we have to take this direction.
Yeah.
And if the direction is good and is taking the company forward, you have to embrace it. So we have had a lot of dilemma in especially Africa, in regards to leadership at all levels and spheres of leadership, from the presidency, from the ministers, from the local council, wherever, and everything, to the CEOs and everywhere. That once everyone is given power and they're in positions of power to influence anything, then they want to hijack the entire power, to take the entire chunk. It's me, I'm the president, it's me who does everything. Who does it? I don't want any system to work. It's me who is going to dictate ABCD, and then you leave a vacuum killing everything. MDs in companies, they have to do the great divide and rule this one. They don't want to see a team that is me, I'm the opposite of that exactly. And my work through that style becomes so easy because I empower people. I delegate. Even if I'm not there, like I was on set, I left the set. It is running. Even if I didn't go there today, even if I didn't go there for a month, they will meet, brainstorm stories, shoot flight content because they know. And that is the system I've created. That I empower people who are confident enough to come and talk to me because they are my friends and we will iron out. And that is why like you're talking. We are in Africa now. We have Kansim, we have Tichampamire, we have quite a lot. As I have Saimo, we have 200, many creatives. Because that is our business, to create and be mad.
Wow. Annington, on that note, who is a leader to you, and are you one, having defined leadership?
Yes, I'm a leader. I see this, I don't want to quote Ujirakase pitch like people say, but you know, leading the people I lead is actually the most difficult job in the world, like the biggest MD or CEO job in the world. Because leading creatives. You have
I know what it means.
And not
everybody is a leader in that.
And not just creatives, but the best sketch comedians in Africa, if not the world. Because we are the only people in the world who do what we do. We've been doing different shows every Thursday, 14 stories every week for the last 15 years. And we have never repeated any. No one does that in the world. It's only Saturday Night Live that does that. There are the people who only every Saturday they do 2-3 sketches of what is happening in their country in America. The broadcast, as we do 14 of every, and we have never repeated. We only repeat when people request. So that means these people are normally imaginative. They are wild. They are mad. You know, you see, that is the creativity because no creative is sane. No one should lie to you. We are all mad, but our level varies. Not mad of removing clothes, but what happens in our heads. Because when you sit down with Chameleon and the way he tells you, he says, I have 1,000 boxes in my head. So this one is telling me this one is telling me this is telling me. So to reconcile them, I need a team. So this is what we're building. I need people to help me. Because for me, in his head, even my head right now, you don't know, even you. So they're crazy. So for me, I think I'm a good leader because leading those people for a long time and being together, when they have made it big, when they are hitting Africa, like even they're trending, it's not easy. But I thank God for that, and of course them and their passion and their professionalism and our friendship as a family, because we run Fun Factory as a family. Everyone has something they do. That this one is in charge of creativity, Zizinga and Veronica, that are marketing and everything. Richard Tuanji is the director. Finance, I have Gerard Dutaro doing, and Nina. Then production, I'm with Kathy Bagaya, Emma Kakai. Writing, I have people. The stage manager, I have Destiny. Runners, I have guys that are coming down. So practically everywhere I'm plugged. That when I want welfare, Veronica's there. Eva Kemizinga will come in to plug this. So practically everyone has something they're doing. Not just sitting to act.
And wait.
No. So that is, I empower people, and that's how we're moving.
Wow. Well, what is your story? You who is watching the CEO bench right now, what's your story? What comments do you have for Annington Bujingo? Did you actually realize, or did you ever imagine that the Fun Factory is run with such a base, like an organization, like a company, that's what it means to be a CEO. The CEO means that you are a chief executive officer. You are responsible for the layers of the executive below you. All right, not the chief everything Okila or the chief everything, Bujingo. No. It's the chief operation officer, which means that there are chief executive officer. There are people below you who are operating. We want to hear from you. What's your comment to Annington Bujingo's first part of the interview on his personal life, on his leadership, and of course, being the CEO of Fun Factory, Annington?
Yeah.
We want to get back to you on this last question of the leadership. All right, second last actually. What is your understanding of leadership at the personal level, the family level, the society level, the corporations, and the nation level? What's your understanding of that? Because this sometimes is very much confused. Some people think that if you fail at the family level, you can be great at the corporation level. We think no.
It's impossible. It's impossible. You see, like I've said, leadership should be like an interpersonal exchange between you and the people you're leading.
Yeah.
Not you, like you've been summarizing, to be their boss. And like I've said, it is a problem we have here. Because, Eddie, we know our president. You and me have worked with these corporations.
Yes.
I've worked in corporate agencies where we have a CEO and everything. I've worked now, I'm a CEO of Fun Factory.
Yes.
So practically, I know everything.
Yes.
I'm a father. I've been married. I have children. Yes. And I know. So for as long as you don't make your family your friends,
yes,
whether your wife and your children and everything, you cannot be a leader. You cannot be a father or a mother. You can't. Many people are fathers or mothers, but because they are holding their children hostage, the kids they have no option. They didn't decide or choose who their parents
when
should
daddy
be.
walks there,
They go away.
They
keep quiet.
Yes.
It's the same thing with our country.
Yeah.
Because when the president says anything, no one will debate with him.
Yeah.
Because recently, last year I think when I met him, it was baffling to me that the actual big guys were scared that I was debating with a man.
Yes.
Because the guys could not even believe it. Some of them have not even had that chance, and they've been cabinet ministers.
Well, were you scared that you'll be
No,
thrown out? The small man, imagine a small
I'm
man.
not scared of anyone.
A small man talking to the president.
I'm only scared of God.
Yes.
Because he's the only guy who's ever. I'm not scared of him because by the time they call me, I don't waste time.
Yeah.
I keep telling people, if you call me for a meeting and you want pick my mind,
yes,
or you won't listen to what I have to say, I don't need to attend that. So I go to meetings based on condition that I will talk, and I talk my mind. And usually now, I also have a team. We document what I'm going to talk about.
Yeah.
I don't want to meet a big person on just words or marusu.
Yes.
No, I have to be on record that I'm telling you A, B, C, D. I want this to be changed in the creative sector. So I have ideas or motives and a strategy on how we can influence or change the industry. So I can't just come and talk to you and go. So I write a document with evidence, with research, showing that if we did A, B, C, D, F, G, A, B, C to be done. And I'm using even data that has been there, done by Bank of Uganda, which is a government agency, UNESCO, these things are there. So use data, and even the president asks, is this true? Yeah, it's by your people who got it here on this side. Are you sure? And thank God, he replied my letter and he authorized some, he did a presidential directive to try and improve in regards to copyright, people who are stealing our money and quite a lot of stuff. And we pray that they happen and we move the sector or the industry.
Wow. Annington, lastly on the leadership, there are what we call 5 qualities of a good leader that, you would have to leave us on that part of leadership. There are 5 qualities. What would be your 5 qualities before we take a break?
I never cram those qualities, and they differ from CEOs to CEO, leader to leader. But the
from the one from Bujingo point.
From Bujingo's point of view, is one, you have to be a human being. You have to be a human being. That's number 1. Is because you're leading human beings, you're not leading monkeys or chimpanzees. So a human being will fall sick, a human being may come late, a human being may have anything that can also happen to you. So you have to be tolerant, first of all, because you're a human being. So you be tolerant, understanding, and also not being rigid. Yeah, you have to move with the tides of what is moving. I don't know how many are those.
Those are four.
Those are four. And loving.
Yes.
Loving and sharing. Compassion is critical.
Yeah.
For as long as the people you're working with don't see the compassion in you. Every time they're coming to you, I'm sick, and telling you, you're sick. How? You're supposed to be
Yes.
So they'll switch off.
Yeah.
Even when they are sick, they'll come in, but they'll not deliver. Instead, if you told you I'm sick, really, what are you feeling? Oh, sorry. Okay, maybe you can take a day off.
Wow.
But please make sure that you meet your deadline this time, because our client is, on my case, on the one that thing. That person, even they're home and they're sick, they will work.
Yes.
They will take a bit and then they will work.
Yeah.
But you will shout at that person and he will come to work because you want them to sit there and
work.
they will be there and they will not work because they are sick and their minds are mentally not okay.
Yeah.
So you will not get anything from them.
Wow.
So it's better you be compassionate, be part of them because they are like you.
Yeah.
Yeah. You may just have a bigger salary,
Yes.
but you are just like them. And actually, some of them may even be cleverer
Better
than you,
yes.
better than you. But just because the world has not given them that chance, and they'll get that chance. I was seeing that when I was working in agencies. Many times I was better than the creative directors that they were hiring, but I was learning. I said I'm going to teach myself. I will learn from them because they've been exposed to different markets and everything. I had issues with some of them because I'm always outspoken, but I was learning. Because I was better than many of them, but my chance hadn't gotten there.
Yes.
And I said, I will just keep quiet and learn. And I learned.
Wow.
And indeed, it helped me a lot.
Wow. Well, we're going to take another break. I hope you're picking something from Annington Bujingo. For me, the first part of the show, you said you were learning, and you were learning from these people. You didn't challenge them. You didn't say, you're crap, you're not good, you're this, but you're learning. That's the lesson we have on the CEO bench. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, the CEO bench will continue the interview with Annington Bujingo, talking change management. How do you move from all these different jobs? Annington Bujingo has been there, done it almost everywhere. We want to learn from him. How was he able to actually manage change from one point to the next? Stay right there. The CEO bench will be right back after the break. People at the moment are struggling to understand the older generation because times have changed. Technology has come in.
They've moved on.
Yes.
We're the ones sitting back and wondering, what is my child on to? TikTok has surpassed WhatsApp. The other one I call, I never call it Facebook, it's Bookface. Why are you on Bookface? Dad, it's Facebook.
Yes.
Me, I keep saying, I have a foot amongst the millennials.
Yeah.
And I understand the traditionalists.
Okay.
There's a song in the 60s, by the way, and in the 90s, 70s, where they're like, parents don't understand.
Yes.
Remember Prince?
Yes.
Prince.
There's a lot that is involved in the civil society organizations. There's leadership in itself, there's management of processes, there's management of the human resource, there's fundraising, there's research. It's a lot that needs to be done. And many times there is a feeling that is too much for a woman because she has other traditional roles that she needs to do as at home. Yeah. So many times as people are looking for leaders in civil society organizations, the priority is usually given to men because of our society that feels that men have the time, men have the capacity, men have the ability to lead, to take this organization to greater heights. And women, there will be a problem. They will have to go to maternity for maternity leave. They have issues. They are too emotional. They have not done the courses that are good enough for leaders. They don't have time to, to go for extra, learning, or to go for work outside Kampala because they have to tend to their children. So there's too much that society has tied around a woman. And it's true, we have these traditional roles that we have to do, but does not in any way mean that women cannot lead in these spaces. No.
Welcome back to the program. This is the CEO Bench. My name is Eddie Okila, and my guest today in this particular program, or on this particular program, depending on which part of the world you are actually watching the program from, is Annington Bujingo, who is the CEO of Fun Factory Uganda, a group of skit comedians, depending on how the English is in your country. All right, Annington, welcome back to the program.
Thank you.
And we are talking about the story of change management, leadership, self-leadership, change management, and transformation. Annington, before we went for a break, you were giving us some really great learning from personal leaderships and the leaderships and how should a leader behave and how you've been able to behave yourself to where you are. I want to read for you some a few comments that are coming from people.
Okay.
And
hope they're nice.
Yes. I want to start from one Ediwato Chom, who is a lawyer.
Okay.
He's a lawyer, a land rights lawyer, and a human rights lawyer as well. He is a man who fights for people's land all the time.
Should be having a lot of money. But there's so many bills there.
He's basically listening into the show. He says, Annington, you are one of the people who have pushed the comedy industry to the extent that it became a popular and independent source of entertainment.
Thank you.
But now, I see some comedians using musicians a lot in their shows. What do you make of the new trend of musicians aiding comedy shows?
It is a show design. I know he's talking about a comedy store.
Yes.
I just didn't know. And that's the show design. Okay. You know, I talk a lot with Alex, being the president of the Uganda Comedian Association. Yes. So we collaborate and talk a lot. We share a lot. But that was the design. You see, in the entertainment circuit, because what he's saying is very right, that we fought when we were starting this thing. Comedy was never on the entertainment circuit of Uganda. Yes. The Amarulas were there, but their comedy was only in bars, like a Parker View, Jajas Nansana, because that's when I was in school in 1994-95. I used to watch. I used to go to Jajas in Nansana, because that's where my mom stays. That's where I grew up partly. So I used to watch their motives. So when we went to university, we couldn't join the Bakayimbiras, we couldn't join Afritalent, we couldn't join Diamond Seven because they are doing long plays. Neither could we join the Amarulas. Yes. So we said, how do we push to make sure that comedy is on the real entertainment circuit? That when you go to an event or when you go to a wedding, there is a comedian, there is an MC, there is anything. So we strive, we started, and then it came through. So now what Alex is doing, the entertainment circuit in Kampala at that time was about music. Everywhere, almost every bar had a music event in a night from Monday to Sunday. You would go to this bar, there's this band on Monday. You go there, there's this musician singing that. Yeah, almost the entire Kampala. So there was, and it happened for a long time, like 10 years. That's how the Bobby Wines came through, the Baby Cools, the Chameleons, and their things. So there was a lot of that entertainment yearning and that cluster. So Alex, for him to come, to bring in his comedy, he couldn't take away the music.
Yes.
So now he had to maintain a lot of music and bring in little comedy. And so that is the design of the show. But on our show at the National Theatre before we were locked down, it is only comedy. Yeah, 95%. And that's the design, because that is what we stuck to. So it's dependent on the design of the promoter or someone who's packaging their show to run that way. But there are very many people who are doing comedy shows that are less music and a lot of music. But Alex designs it because his client base loves a lot of music and comedy fuses in.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, thank you very much for that one, Annington. I just want to read for you one more comment from Uganda here.
Okay.
It says, Namazi Sharon says, Shotman in the house.
A Mumpi.
Yes, a Mumpi in the house. Annington, we're going to go straight to our next question of the show. In fact, the next segment of the show, which is about change management.
Okay.
And I want to just take you straight back to this program here and saying the program combines intellectual rigor with personal challenges, collaborations, and creative expressions of things. And that said, we want to engage the viewer with an integrative mind maps.
Yep.
To understand the organizational, and leadership development when a person is talking to the show, on the show, as well as, with intent to basically provide, practical, applicable, lessons of becoming very effective leader and moving forward. The dynamics of an individual moving from one place to the next is what we're looking at.
Okay.
So this part of the show is change management. And you've talked very much about your change, moving. You've been almost everywhere. Worked in almost every sector.
True.
Advertisement, sort of like exposes people to all sectors across the spectrum of economy. Now, Annington, how were you able to manage movement from one place to the next when we talked about, because change management is a systematic approach of dealing with, transitions or transformations of an organization. And sometimes some people get tired and move. Sometimes some people have outgrown the organization and move. How do we start communicating? Because there are people who are stuck in some of these organizations who can't move.
True.
Don't know what to do.
True.
But you're here on the show. You've changed several times and you're moved.
I'm like a snake. I keep molting.
Yes.
But some of because like you've said, I've practically been everywhere. But what I do, or what has kept me this, is I never fear about tomorrow.
Yes.
And I live today like it's my last, and I never know that tomorrow will happen.
Yes.
So that you cannot hold me hostage.
Okay.
So every person who is, all who works, all who wants to achieve something, one other thing that they will do, if they're like a certain level, now if I left here, will I be able to eat? Will my family survive? Will I? So yes, now with that you're now killing your brain cells. Yes. You're killing yourself. You're killing your thinking abilities because you're disarming and disempowering yourself. You're not believing in yourself. You're giving up on you. When you start like that, like you've said, I was in employment. I was earning 5 million net 11 years ago, 2011, but I didn't mind whether I didn't have it. And that kept me at the best of my game in advertising, because I never took no for an answer, and I never took like you can intimidate me because you are a Muzungu, you are no. And that kept me doing good work because I didn't value the job. Like the job wasn't my everything. Because I always wanted to be free to create. Because if you're not happy, if you're not free, you can't create and you can't be productive. So moving from one step to another is being free. Because I don't know how I've reached here. It's God's plan. And there's always a superhuman being who plans for you. So no matter how scared you'll be, no matter what, if something is bound to happen, it will happen. So you have to free yourself against any mental slavery. Which is that, because many people are engrossed or embroiled or enslaved in their work. They don't know. They think, oh, they are getting this and they don't move. I know many of them. So that has helped me to move and change. Because I've done businesses, I'm still doing businesses. I've been into advertising, I've moved into it, I've started companies, I've closed some are moving, I've gone into construction, I've done so practically it's that element of making sure that I don't stay in one place, I don't be comfortable with myself, I don't dwell on the past, because of course in the journey you lose a lot of money through businesses where you think you're going to benefit but you don't. and you keep going, and that's what keeps reinventing yourself, reinventing you, even creatively. Staying in comedy for more than 15 years, because we started in 2003 at university, so this is now 18 years. It's not easy being in people's eyes for that long, and you still years and years
making
noise, and they're seeing, you know, the social media practically they are like with you every second, because they're on your phone, they're following you. You meet them and they tell you about something you posted sometime and you don't remember, but they know. So you have to be agile and very versatile. That is what even is helping my other people I'm working with. The Kansimes, the Mpamiles, the Namandas, the Tuanjes, the Zizingas, the Kemizingas, the Ninas, the Kathes, the Kakais, you know. It's that, because we never get satisfied and comfortable. We tell them, guys, something, young guys are coming up, so what are you creating? So that in a way is helping us to move from one mindset. And I urge our viewers to also embrace that. Don't fear. Don't fear that you lose your job. No, the more you fear, the more you're going to be unproductive. The more you're not going to deliver. So open up, talk to your bosses, even you bosses, be friendly to your people. These are guys, if they are friends, they will make you more money, because you are the guy who's going to get a bonus bigger than theirs. So you embrace them and you work together, you do magic. You will be transferred to another country. Your salary will be tripled when you make them your friends. But if you make them enemies, you won't. So evolve with them. You're leading humans, just be with them, talk to them nicely, and you will see the magic it will bring to you. And we will run. We will have a better world to live in, a better country, and better creativity, better businesses, better friendship, interpersonal work relationships. Like even COVID is doing, it's helping us. People are no longer going to offices. They're working, but they're delivering like never before. So appreciate even more, because now you can't physically monitor them. They work for their moms, but if you show them the love, if you move with them, magic you'll get.
Wow. Annington, changing from one job to the next is not easy.
Very hard.
Were you always able to communicate this effectively to your, your employer, guys, and I'm leaving? Or at what point do you say, okay, I'm done here? Or at what point do you realize that, okay, I've outgrown this organization, I need to move to the next? How do you communicate that change?
I've never applied for any job in my life.
Yes.
I even don't know where, I've never. I even don't know where my transcript is.
Yes.
I got it 15 years ago. I graduated 1st April 2005. Yes. Those are 16 years ago. I don't know where it is. So that means I was handpicked, and I've been only employed twice in my life. That was Canada, where they handpicked me. A lady, the MD was a Kenyan called Esther Mihaki. The husband somehow handpicked me. They gave me a job. And then Paul Warner, the owner of Metropolitan Republic, Africa, poached me because I was in Scanad. So they did research and said, this guy who is a comedian is everything. So they came, called me at Serena, and they gave me a job without even an interview, because they knew what I was capable. In advertising, it's a small world. So they gave me a job. And I worked with all my bosses very well, the MDs, Alex Rukundo, the guys who were there very well. Until one particular white old man who came, was called Thierry. I can speak on camera. Some old white man who came, and he was clueless. He didn't know that he was the creative director, but he didn't know stuff. I settled with them. He fired me, then I sued them, and they gave me a lot of money, because I was the best performer in Metropolitan. I was the best creative. They had they evaluate you after every 3 months in creativity. You don't eat their free money, because they pay very good money. So they give you quite a lot of money, and then they monitor you, and also they monitor. So that evaluated me as the best creative. They added me more salary. So when the guy came in, he didn't know what he was doing. He didn't know the market. So I was telling him, we cannot run that way, because clients were complaining, but because he's white, somehow they fear him, and he's old, and he has given a portfolio that if you see the portfolio that guy had, bro, you may have thought like
written from to Lake Victoria in Uganda, and then back to UK.
The portfolio was huge. You may think that this guy was like one that like the Keynes and like.
Yes.
But what was coming from his mouth, all his directions, what the writer was not there.
Yes.
So and we were generally telling him, but the guy now felt insecure because I'm very outspoken. So he goes and does his Manchester. They fire me after 1 month of being evaluated and salary increment. So I had no option but to sue them.
Yes.
Yeah, when I sued them, they called me. David Mpanga was their lawyer. They called me with my lawyers. We sat down and settled and they paid me. So from that time, I've never been employed.
Yeah.
That was 2011.
Yeah.
That was the last time. But I left that, then we moved. And because, of course, I was into business still that time. And then, of course, I was still managing the CEO of Fun Factory because we have been so we're moving. And the brands are moving, guys are moving. I'm so proud of my entire team of Fun Factory because, man, they have outdone themselves. They have done themselves. And even the comedians that have come in and plugged into what we started professionally. The Salvadors, the Mahanjis, Pablo started with them. So guys have come and now made a comedy like professional, like plug into our dream, and they've taken it. The Salvadors have moved the entire world. The Mahanjis are going. Now Madrat and Chico are in the US right now, even lockdown. They're doing stuff. I'm so proud. And for me, this is my biggest achievement or legacy.
Yeah.
Is the industry has always been a lot of infighting.
Yes.
Why fight? We are 44 million Ugandans.
Yes.
We are not even 100,000 artists.
Yes.
So we can practically act for 1,000, all of us, and we'll all be happy.
Yeah.
So you don't need to have an enemy. Oh, this one you're beefing, this one you're fighting. So no, we all have different audiences. My jokes may not appeal to your fans.
Yeah.
So your fans will love your jokes.
Yeah.
And my music, you said, so that is what we're harnessing. And that's why I'm even into music now, to see if we can work together, as an entire industry. That's why I'm also the board of the National Culture Forum.
Yes.
So these are things that we are dreaming, that with time, that they will happen. Because my children, all of them are artists. Some are acting already in DSTV.
Yes.
They're musicians, they're producers.
Yes.
Yeah. So I want to like lead the way for them, that by the time they come, they can own record labels where they can be professional artists, like we're seeing the Kanye's, where they're filling stadiums for just people, someone to listen to his album. And people are feeling, So
which was never the case. It was a taboo back
Yeah.
then for you to be an artist, to be a musician. I mean, your parents.
Yeah.
I mean, it was not. It was unheard of.
It was madness.
Yeah.
Even now,
Yeah.
you see, even because I was sitting with the president. You see what the president is talking. I go there and
This is the president Yoweri Kaguta.
yes,
Yeah.
I said, but I hear you are rich. Where do you get that money? You see, and I laugh. I said, I'm not rich. He said, no. I've been briefed. I'm not rich. I'm just a comfortable Ugandan.
Yes.
But for them, they thought we were failures.
Yes.
And we are not. We are actual professionals who have worked in the most difficult environments in the country, because the people our leaders don't understand, but they're trying to understand now.
Yeah.
And we pray that they understand and we trickle down, because there are many people now on research. Out of 10 students that get out of university, all universities in Uganda, 6 of them are retained, all get employment, all create their jobs in the ICT entertainment sector. They will open a saloon, they will open a kiosk of doing music, they will start doing what? 6 out of 10, implying that we are like agriculture. When you're an artist, you don't need to study, all you need to do, you can join us and start and move.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, we are talking to Annington Bujingo, who is the CEO of Fun Factory Uganda. And of course, we're talking the story of leadership, change management, and transformation. In that regard, and of course, you've got to learn a thing or two from Annington Bujingo this morning or this afternoon or this night or this evening, depending on which part of the world you're in. I want to just bring some small questions that people are asking Annington.
Yeah. I'm here for them.
Yes. And just on the change management, somebody said, Ed Yokila, thank you very much. I'm sending my question all the way from Australia. I've been waiting from the time you posted. My name is Dennis. I live and work in Australia. I'm a big follower of Fun Factory here. And tell Mr. Bujingo, him and Richard Tuanje just gives me reason to keep working every time I watch
Thank
them.
you.
Wow.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dennis.
Thank you, Dennis.
My question goes to Mr. Annington Bujingo.
Yep.
If I am stuck in my job and I do not know what to do, but I need to make a change that will affect my life, like he's been talking about his life and how he's been able to move. First of all, what are the steps? Can you give us like 3 steps that we can follow to change our lives, to move a job from one place to the next?
1, give yourself a timeline and say, be like a target worker and say, now I'm going to test deep waters.
Yes.
Because leaving employment is not easy.
Yeah,
it's not easy.
2000.
You know,
struggling with it. Yes.
You've seen it's not easy.
Yeah.
Especially when you have a family and
Yes.
responsibilities.
And you have the salary where it is always.
Yeah, and you know 25th.
Whether you work
or not, it's there.
It's going to pay. It's not your responsibility.
It's a big shift.
Yeah.
And so what you need to do is you give yourself a timeline. Because and you be like a target worker. Guys who go to Kuba Cheyo, they give themselves, I'm going to be there 5 years and I'm going to save. So you give yourself a timeline that I want to get out of employment in 2 years. And you be realistic with yourself. So out of the 2 years, you say, how much do I earn? I earn probably 2 million a month in net. So what are your responsibilities? You pay rent, you pay school fees and everything, because we all know that once your expenditures, you'll save this a month. So you'll be able to know, because based on your earnings, that I'll be able to save 500,000 shillings, for example, a month. And then you give yourself, maybe I'll save for a year or two. So that means I'll have probably 20 million cash by the time I want to walk out of employment. And in the process, the time frame you've given yourself, research what do I want to go into. Don't go into what you want to do just for a living, because you will not survive there. Go there with a passion, with a desire, with a dream that I can make this last for 20 years, 30 years, and it can lead me into retirement. So once you have those things and you've done research, don't be like those Ugandans, because we are the most entrepreneurial country in the world, but most of our businesses never see our first birthday. Because we are copycats. I'll see Eddie has started something like a good studio. The next building you'll see the same things, because I'll say, how much is the camera, how much is the screen? I can start it and I'll go without researching what has Eddie done or anything, or what creativity idea do I have, not just putting the resources. Processes. So once you have them and you've really done research, created your own business model, don't copy like others. And this is what is killing Ugandan entrepreneurs. We are all copycats. We never invest in research of what you're going to do. So the money you have saved, you inject it in something because you have seen, okay, I started a studio and it will die. You'll be frustrated, and then depression, you'll not be able to get. So, but once you save, have a strategy, research about what you want to do, you cannot fail. So when your time comes and you have your money, politely and requestfully, go to your boss, tell them that, you know, boss, thank you very much for the time you've given me. It's now, I'm starting on a journey, but I'm available. If your boss is willing to maybe offer you consultancy and pay you half, and they'll be wanting maybe like 4 days a month or something, you can iron out the deal with them, and you'll move, and then you'll just keep growing, and nothing will be hard for you.
Wow. Well, Dennis, there you have it from earning to building. I think that's a very good example of change management and how he has been able to manage. I have got one more here. I have so many of them, messages coming in. But I want to read one, actually two. One coming from Barara. Eddie Ogila, thank you very much. That brother of mine has never been able to speak about his life like this. We know him, we have heard him, but he's not been able to tell us the story. I for a long time, I just thought he was a funny guy, nice funny guy, but he doesn't really talk serious stuff. But today I have a different perspective of Annington Bujingo. Those levels of management he has put in place is even better than some of the government offices.
Thank you.
But I have a question for Annington Bujingo. As a brother of mine, can you please, Annington, tell us, if I am about to leave my job and I have everything, and my job is telling me I can't go because I am good and they keep increasing the salary, but I feel like I'm tired, I can't move. How do I move from this job? He said he left a job of 5 million. How was he able to leave 5 million?
You see, it's not easy, like he says, it's a bait. So when you want to scoop a fish in the ocean, you have to put something like mukene or to hook it up. But when you're going to take it out, you're taking its life. You're going to eat it. So many a times they add those bonuses to hook you up, to bait you. And at the end of the day, you're growing up every day. There's a comment he made that I'm better than many people in government. In an ideal society, me and you should be in government. Like creatively, no one in any government art industry is better than me. That I would say on record. That I would say on record. No one that is running any art institution in government is better than me in regards to the creative industry, the knowledge, the dream, the desire to move it forward. No one. But you see, because these old people have refused to hand over power to people, now they're stoning. They are so fearful. No, they're so fearful. They don't know. They fear what they don't know. Like they don't fear what they don't know, because they see. This is why us, we never wanted politics. Bobi Wine never wanted politics. But you see, if you step on us and you don't know, and we see guys, we made ourselves when none of you believed in us, not even our parents. They thought we were mad, and we told them we can shift, we can make this a job. No one believed, even our parents. So we come and we make the names and the jobs, and we show people you can earn a living from here, and still we ask them help us this way, and they don't. So what do? You go and get the power. You go into politics and start now campaigning on getting them, so that you influence things yourselves. So this is what we are saying. And the person that is saying the baiting, you have to give yourself a time. I'll go back. Give yourself, even if they're giving you an increment, take it up to a certain level. Say, I'm going to work for this. I can't determine for people. You know based on your needs, your family needs. Save, plan what you want to invest in, research about it, start slowly. Actually, you can start it before you even retire or resign. And then you see, you test the water. Empower. Many of us have spouses who are not working. All children. You can put your spouse or to monitor. As when it stabilizes, resign, go live the dream.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, Annington, we're going to take one before we take a break. And this is the CEO Bench. Annington Bujingo, Ed, your killer on the CEO Bench. We're talking about leadership, change management, and transformation. How do you lead yourself from a personal point of view to, family point of view, organization, and of course corporation, and going Africa like Annington Bujingo? It's a journey that one needs to take. I have one more question for you, Annington. This gentleman says, I used to work in Uganda Telecom. Life became very hard when Uganda Telecom went down. I found myself now, I moved to Denmark, and I now live in Denmark. I was a huge follower of Annington Bujingo, and I still does. When I am looking for excitement, Annington Bujingo and Richard Tuwande just makes my day.
Thank you, brother.
But I have a question for Annington Bujingo right now. Watching him, I have never seen Bujingo speak like this before. I think that he needs to continue doing this a little bit more to give us an insight. In Uganda, people just make a summary of who you are without knowing who you are. Really. But I have a question for Annington. You've talked about something very interesting about change management and how you're able to move. Did you study something to be where you are today, management or leadership? Were you able to go through something? Can you give us some understanding of how one can switch a job? Because right now, I live in Denmark, I am working, but I feel I'm tired of my job. I don't know, I even fear to come back to Uganda, because I feel like when I come back, I will find people like, people have left me behind like 10 years.
That is true. That's very true. I went to school. I only have a bachelor's degree in drama. The rest I've been taught by life. The experience I have is life. I have a lot of experience in regards to leadership. Because I've worked with top leaders, from ministers closely, vice presidents, the Speaker of Parliament is my personal friend. I practically know a lot of stuff. Bobi Wine, quite many politicians. I know like 100 MPs personally, like my friends, and I meet them on a personal level over beer, whiskey. We were meeting musicians, guys who have pioneered the industry, the Chameleons, Bebe Cool. I sit down with them, and we talk quite a lot. I'm happy that people are seeing this side of me that I'm not sharing, and I'm happy that I'm going to start something here that I've wanted to start for a long time. And I've said, like they're saying, we inspire many people just through the art they see, but they don't know this other side of us that we're seeing as the human side of us, the intellectual side of us. We are abnormal intellectual people. It's what we're talking about. Creatives are the most intelligent people in every society world over. From the excellences, I've said, the Platos, the Shakespeares, they all stood out. You said because they were doing art for their generations. To this day, we are reading about Othello the play because of Shakespeare. If they asked you something that happened 500 years ago, what will you say? You will just talk about Shakespeare and Charlie Chaplin and everything. These are creatives. So meaning that they are the people that reflect their societies. But in Africa or in Uganda, it has been the other way around. They were calling us Badongo, Bagoma, Banakatemba, Dikula, derogatory names that degraded us to that level. And yet what we do was for the high society, that is why National Theatre is next to Parliament of Uganda,
Yes.
because technically every leader
They're
has
the one
to,
who was stressed so much, so they need to come.
they have to even know
Yes.
what their citizens or people are thinking through the plays.
Yes.
That's why the National Theatre is next to Parliament.
Wow.
So the MPs cross. They have. It was a must. Actually, it's a must even up to now that an MP or leader has to go to Royal Court in London
Yes.
to watch a play,
Yes.
because that's when you'll see what is reflecting. What are they saying?
Yes, because
And
that's the reflection.
That's a reflection of
Like the
society,
thinking of
and it's
the-
the other one. So. We are going to start something. They were saying I'll continue the Bujingo talks.
Yes.
I'll be showing you guys to look at artists, and then we look at artists at different level.
Yes.
Not about music, about comedy. Like you interviewed me.
Yes.
So those will be the talks, and thank you for the platform. This is nice. This man has been. Those of you who don't know Eddie, let me also talk about it. He has been in this industry like more than 10 years, trying to create platforms, to create
18 years.
content, 18
Yes.
years. To create content, yeah, and we are getting there slowly, but we are fighting with the broadcasters because they don't want to buy our content. Yeah, so, but the beauty is now technology is helping
Yes,
us.
yes.
We are here. You are seeing us live.
Yeah.
Eventually, you'll grow the channels, and
Yeah.
you people will be able to subscribe.
Yes.
So, because it's not easy to run such a thing.
Yes.
It's expensive,
True.
but because of the dream and desire, we will get the numbers,
Yeah.
and we'll be able to live, because we have the audience that wants to hear this.
Yes.
They don't want to hear bad black.
Yes.
But bad blacks have been made monsters on
Yes,
social
yes,
media.
yes. And many other people who,
Many.
you know, things that are supposed to be growing us but don't grow us.
Yes.
So, Annington, we're going to take another break, and when we come back, the CEO bench will be back. We want to hear from you. We want to send us your kisses and disses coming. We love to hear from you. And of course, if you have a question for Annington Bujingo, please shoot. We're going for a break, and when we come back, we'll come to the last part of the show, which is transformation. Is Annington Bujingo and the Family Factory work transforming lives in Uganda and all across Africa? If yes, how is it doing? That's the part of the show. We're coming back. My name is Eddie Okela. Annington Bujingo. This is your bench. We'll be right back after the break.
My name is Dr. Jinpo Olowo. Thank you for watching House of Talent television. I love to inspire people. I love to talk about my experiences and how God has been able to use me in the different exposures. And through the leadership, through change management and transformation, I've been able to do a couple of things in my life. Now, are you a kind of person who is tired of your status quo? Do you want your situation to change? Are you tired of what is going on in your life? You know, change is a fact of life. We've all been through experiences in the last couple of months that have taken us to a place where we need to do something about our lives. We need to change whatever is going on. So if you have not piled up investment for yourself, you need to do that. If you've not done businesses to hold your family in future, you need to do that. Are you thinking of full-time employment? You need to be thinking about your life after employment or your business in the next couple of years. So if you want us to chat, if you want us to talk about this, please get in touch with us at SEAL Uganda on number 0772443085, or check our website www.sealuganda.com, or on all the social media handles. You can hook me up or Facebook, that is Jinpo Olowo, on Instagram, Jinpo Olowo, and on Twitter and LinkedIn. Then we can chat a way forward with you. We can help you, we can coach you, we can walk with you this journey of financial freedom. Thank you.
For me, leadership is a privilege of moving people towards a destiny. And for me, it would be towards God's agenda. That's the best, moving people to God's agenda. God has an agenda for everybody. And I know some people say, oh, it's too much of God, but God has a plan for this world. And so whether you're in business, you're a medical personnel, if somebody came to you, a good medical leader says, I want you not only to be healed, but to be healthy. That's the kind of mindset that I see. And it's about self. So if you ask me, am I a leader? By the grace of God, I am a leader, and I am growing as a leader. And I thank God for that privilege of being a leader. And who is a leader to me? It's very simple. Someone that has a vision, but is also someone that is there serving people. For me, that's a leader. Vision is where you want to take things. Serving is the recognition that if the things do not matter to people, drop them.
Wow.
Drop them. Because at the end of the day, whatever we do must make a difference in people's lives. Anybody who has had huge impact in history, in leadership, the impact is not measured by just the things they did, but what those things did for people's lives. Did they make a difference? So it's useless for you to make so much money and the money does not add value to people's lives.
Wow.
So for me, yes, you have to have a vision, and at the end of the day, you are serving people. It doesn't change. Leadership is leadership, whether it is at what we would call a lower level or a top level. Leadership is leadership. It's about influence. It's that influence that comes from you have a vision and you are serving people. So what changes is the level of responsibility, but the other one that people don't like is the level of accountability. You see, Jesus said, to whom much is given, much will be required. So the only differences there is the level of responsibility. When you're at the national level, you are now responsible for an entire nation. When you are a CEO, now you're no longer just looking at the department, you are looking at the entire entity. The responsibility has changed, the accountability even goes higher. Hi, this is Julius Wotlonyo, pastor at Watero Church. Thank you so much for tuning into House of Talent Television. It's a great, innovative way of doing TV, and particularly for being a part of the CEO bench, talking about leadership. You know what, friends? Leadership can be tough. Leadership can be lonely, and the dynamics of leadership keep changing. I want to encourage you, watch the CEO bench so that you can get to hear real practical tips on leadership from people who are actually practicing leadership. Once again, thank you for being a part of the CEO bench right here on House of Talent Television.
Welcome back from that break. My name is Edio Killan. This is the CEO Bench. In the studio is Addington Bujingo, who is the CEO of Fun Factory Uganda, a comedy group straight out of Uganda to the rest of the world, and of course, making people enjoy their lives. You see, you cannot work without entertainment. you need somebody that takes away the stress from you. And the Bujingos does it much better than anyone does. Annington, welcome back to the program. We're going to talk about transformation as we hasten to the close of the show. Annington, and I just want to give you a background, literally, of what transformation is really about and what we're looking for. Change is a response to external influences.
Okay, true.
And there's so many things happen that influence who we are and what we become.
Yes.
And where modifying a day-to-day action achieve a lot of desired results if a person is more focused.
Okay.
Now, transformation is about modifying the core beliefs of a human being every day and the long-term behaviors of that person. For that person to change, they need to transform themselves by modifying day-to-day thinking. You know, the thinking pattern, the things we do. You wake up in the morning, you want to do something, but you need some people to be able to help you move if you're not able to move by yourself. Sometimes profound ways to achieve the desired results are quite key.
Yeah.
But Annington,
Yes.
the act or the process of changing completely is what we are calling transformation. What does transformation mean to Annington Bujingo? And is Fun Factory actually causing this impact in the lives of Ugandans and beyond?
I'll dive into straight to show you how Fun Factory is, then I'll go
backward. Please.
So when COVID came, none of us was prepared. We didn't know. When it broke in Wuhan, we thought it will be there because we also used to have our Ebola outbreaks and they never spread to the world.
They never went anywhere.
Yeah, so
stay in Africa.
We thought that things would be easy. So we're thinking Wuhan is locked down. We're saying, what is happening? Yeah. Then Trump says it will just go away in 2 days. Why?
Yes.
And then he hits America. Then now everyone died.
Yes.
Then the next we see is lockdown, even us. I'd never seen it in my entire life. Where Kampala is empty, where I'm staying home, I can't leave my home.
Yes, yes.
I'd never stayed in one place in my life. So then we said, what are we going to do? Because we didn't know. Because now we looked towards the president's speeches like God was coming tomorrow.
Yes.
And when they came, we were depressed. So he would come and say 30 days. And on the last day, we think it's going to open up. He says 30 more. So
yes.
all our heads were boiled. So we said, what do we do? Then some small NGO came to us. They didn't have actually money. But we said, fine, let's roll. And then we went into studio. We had never sung. Richard Tuanj is the one who only sang many years back in VIP. He was a dancer. And he's a great musician. So we said, can we do music? We don't want to do stuff that people expect us to do. We don't want to do comedy. So we went and did Yambala Mask. Yambala, 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 Mask, Yambala. Yambala, Yambala, Mask, Yambala. Now, when we did the Yambala, we even showed the video. Funny us, me, I was singing. I can't sing. Richard is the only one who can sing. A few of us can sing, but we did it in a funny way. Teacher Pamela was just saying, wati, rongo. Sanita, 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 wati. Sanitize your hands. And release the song. Yo. So the song went viral. And then when we get a call from MasterCard Foundation. And say, hey, we love this song, what I can do. Say, no, jump on board. Then they came and signed us to do them a campaign. A COVID campaign. So we did skits, we did other songs, we did everything. And now things have gone. So they are global. So they are running them because Ugandans never keep abreast of their own. But our songs have been playing in entire Africa and even the world, the MasterCard Foundation is doing. So the impact is huge. Kansimi has impacted the world, not in a hugely. Teacher Pamela has done that. If I went down to David, I have done that. Tuanj has done, Naman has done that. We are all like everything. So in a trickle down. But the beauty is we are so humble. We are not like these other celebrities. Is you will see me on stage, I can walk to this day, I can sit on a board and move. I don't mind. It's about my life. I'm a celebrity in your eyes, but I'm Bujingo first before the act and everything. So I don't take away my life. So we do all these other things. So the transformation, like you said, it's still inherent. Like I've said, it's individual. You cannot be transformed when you're two. It starts like with an individual. You sit down and say, I want to be transformed in this way. It's not easy, but once you have goals and desires, you may not get the goals and desires the time you are setting them to be. Because you all get year planners, but they never pass. But for as long as you dream, you keep persisting, stuff happens. Because you also dreamt to be who we are. And you also talked about something that is very critical and influential. I'm who I am because I grew up watching certain things on TV.
Yes.
I grew up watching That's Life Mwatu, Bibao, and everything. You too, wherever you are, everyone.
It was the same thing.
Yes. Everyone gets inspired, motivated. Even if you are going to become a banker, even if you are going to become a doctor or lawyer, you have to be surrounded by your system.
Yes.
And it's mainly the art, the music, what you sing, the drama and everything is what is going to make you.
We imitated, everyone was reading news on radio
Francis.
And on UTV then, you know.
So there are trends, but you see, because I will still say our leaders, they don't understand. And in a way, we are getting a dead generation. Dead in a sense that they don't know their cultures. Because what they're watching is wrong. It's not Ugandan. You know, all these broadcasters, even when the laws are there, they go around, they always bribe these guys who are in UCC, and they play Asian soaps, dab and everything. So we are being compromised. So the guys are growing up not as Ugandans, they are growing up as Asians. And those lifestyles they can't afford, they cannot live them. So with time, you're going to have a population of very disillusioned, very hopeless, very empty, because the arts have been neglected. So that is the genuine fighting. You cannot transform anyone in society unless they know where they come from. That's why they say, Socrates has always said, all the philosophers that lived, that an artist is the mirror of society. If you have dead artists, you have a dead generation, a dead nation. So we are fighting hook and crook to make sure that we don't have dead artists. We have guys who are going to impact people, because very many people look at us and we motivate them and inspire them. But again, if they see you now begging, when you don't have what to eat, you demoralize them. So those are the things that we want to take away, because celebrities world over inspire. That's why you see presidents calling them, they want to be next to them. Not only here, even in America, Trump calls Kanye West because he knows he'll get the black vote. He will call the one guy that goes there. Biden will be with Beyonce and everything, because they want, because they pull crowds, they pull numbers. And they also have brands, you've seen. So these are things we want to create to inspire our generation and transform ourselves in all aspects of life, not only employment, but socially, spiritually. That's why you see me attacking guys who bleach. That's why you see me attacking fake pastors, because these people are thieves. They are crooks who have been neglected by government. You see a guy who is stealing from people using the word of God, and you're letting him be. He's marrying wives, and you are dining with him. It's wrong. So, but with social media, we have the power to contest those fake pastors, those guys, even if they are leaders, who are bleaching. Because how do I say Deputy Speaker of Parliament bleaching? How will my daughter be? Because if she said I can also bleach, because if she got there, how did she get there? So those are things, even if she won't stop, but you talk about them. Even if they're very sensitive, they know they will attack you and everything. But once you have a public office, you're no longer private. You are a public figure, person, and anyone can comment to you. So you have to handle yourself, because bleaching is bad. They should stop. And all these other vices.
It's a sense of you don't
believe in yourself.
You don't believe in yourself. You don't believe in your skin. You don't believe in everything you have.
So how will you believe in the laws you're making for us? All the people you see ahead, you understand? So it's something that
Wow. What a day, what a journey, what a moment that we're having here. Addington, we're gonna bring the show to a close, but I have some questions here for you, you know, as we wind up the show. First of all, I have one coming from Burundi, a brother coming from Burundi. Yes, he says, thank you very much, Addington Bujingo, first of all, for coming to the show. The moment I saw the poster up, I've been looking forward. And he says, Edio Killer, thank you. I was one of the people who attended the university quiz we did in Rwanda some years ago, 2011. Yes, and said he's a big follower of yours. But he goes on to say he wants to know from you, Addington, what plans do you have to come up with the, are the comedians, are you having plans as Fun Factory to sort of like train the young people to take over from you guys as you are going? He said, are you training people now? Do you have a school? Do you have an acting school? What are you doing to raise people to take over?
We've been doing it for a long time. Many of us are products of the School of Performing Arts of Makerere University. That's where like 7 of us, me, Tuanje, Namanda, Eva, who else? Nina, Kathe Bagaya. We were like 6, 7. Kwezi Kagana, there were like 7 who started at that university. So every year we've been doing internships.
Yes.
Yeah, so we right now, even on set where we speak to come here, we have products of Makerere University graduates, so who are into production and everything. So we plug. So they send us students, and we do internship with them. Some of them we retain. Some of them go start their own companies. They act. Some of them are on TV already. Some of them are in adverts and everything. Because it's difficult to, because we are big ensemble.
Yeah.
We are 17 in number.
Yes.
So it's hard to add other things. But what we do, as the president now of the Uganda Comedians Association, I try to transfer some of my knowledge to other comedians that are coming through and coming up. And in a way, guys they're big because Ugandans don't understand them, but they have created their platforms. They have brands, they have content, and it's just a matter of opening the sector because lockdown is done, and everything will come. The other thing is also Salvador has done talent searches. We also want to do talent searches for sketch comedians, but still it all involves money. And you and me, you and I have had issues in regards to our sponsors, our corporate people. They don't, because it's difficult.
They don't believe in these things. Some of them think that they use art every day to promote their products, their brands, but they don't want to put money in art.
That is the dilemma, because it's not easy to do a search, a talent search and everything. It's expensive. I cannot handle it immediately. I need partners to come, because once we do it, you have opened like a chapter for a certain generation. So we want to create like fun factories, independent in different regions, where guys can start their group in Gulu, where we teach them the skills. I can go there once a month to just polish them up. Then you've set it off guys, and they're doing their comedy there. Go in Barara, start another fun factory there. Let it be independent. You don't need to go there every day. Be there for a month. Try to train them, go inspire them. They will do a show. Go across the country. Within 5-10 years, if you have the support, you have changed the entire generation. Where guys are looking at art as a business, art as work, not art as a pastime, not art as for failures.
This is not where I want to be.
No. We have a lot of opportunities, but we just need support from the corporate companies and government, because government is the #1 corporate company in the world, all in the country, and we empower them with the authority and our money. So we are not even begging, we are ordering them, because that's their mandate. We're ordering government, because if they don't do it, we'll force them to do it. Because once you take an oath and say, I and so take to be your leader, you have then the mandate, and then I have to pressurize the responsibility. Plan. Art should be on the national planning strategy, where we know that 1% or 4% of the budget goes to agriculture. We should know what percentage does art have in the national budget. So that's where we start from. We have to have analysts, policymakers for us, because we are the biggest employer, but people don't know, and indirectly, we are employing people indirectly. I'll take an example. If there's a music concert in Kampala, like in Chadon, if Cameroon has a show, 2 billion shillings exchange hands in one night. 2 billion. People who are selling beer, people who are entering, the sound system, the food, 2 billion. Now imagine how many concerts that move. So it's an informal sector that people don't understand, that we want them to understand. And it's the journey we're on to push.
Wow. Annington, I have one question from a viewer here called John Oli Kamome. He said, "You make sense, my OB."
Hey, come on, I know, come on. Obi, how are you? He was a very talkative man, come on. Thank you, bro.
Did he end up in comedy like you?
No. He went abroad and came back. I don't know what he's doing, but I was in touch with him.
And Annington, as we close the show, what would be your parting shot? First of all, how is it like being on top as the CEO now?
When you're not difficult, it is easy. But if you want to make yourself complicated, it's hard. If you want to call yourself a star, me, I don't go on a border. I don't eat this. How will they see me driving this car? There it will be very hard. But if I'm the same Hannington that Kamome knows, that even guys that saw me in primary know. You meet me, I can go anywhere. I'm a freestyle. I don't mind. And it's not, even if I have money, I'm me. Even if I don't have money, I'm me. So that's how we've been on the top, and that's why I encourage, and also being humble, because that is exactly what I'm explaining. Every one of us has, and also being focused. And reinventing yourselves. That is what Fun Factory is, and everyone has been. Our fans, of course, love us so much, and we love them too. We want to thank you very much. because I may not get the opportunity to thank you. You have kept us at the top, because without funds you can't be at the top. Because you can't be, thank you.
You can't be the CEO without the funds.
Yes, you can't. You can't. So we want to thank them very much. And also now social media has really helped. Those of us who are using it well, like you're doing, we are sharing with people. You have a House of Talent TV. Where would you have got to? You would be paying people to run this stuff, which you have been complaining about. But now we have the platforms, and those we are going to be using very often. People like Kansim have really used them very well, and they're earning a comfortable living, a good living, and they're inspiring millions of Africans and people in the world. So that is what has kept us on the top, and of course God. Without anything, God has been there for us. So on that note, I would request that whoever is watching to go and like all my social media pages, Bujingo Huntington on Facebook, Bujingo Huntington on Twitter, Instagram, and also the Fan Factory pages, still Fan Factory Uganda on all platforms, because that's where you can tap what we do, the information we do, and like you said, I'm going to start the Bujingo Talks, where I share with people about my journeys that people don't understand. People see you in a short and they think, this is a Kagere. They see you in a dress and then they think. So that's what I want to be sharing. Like we did, we really, I think, shared quite good stuff.
Wow. Huntington, your last parting shot, if you were to leave us today, what would be that last one word that when you live with a person in this, we're in a pandemic situation where some people are really hopelessly low. People are committing suicide. There are people who are dying of hunger. There are people who don't know what to do. Some people have given up in life. They've been fired from their jobs. But here we are. We are, grateful to God that we have a moment. What would be your last parting shot to, if you look into this camera, to that one person who is down right now?
First of all, I want to send my condolences to everyone who has lost a loved one to this pandemic. I know very close friends who have lost parents, grandparents, brothers, sisters, in-laws, husbands, wives, very many. May the good Lord rest their souls in eternal peace. I know people who have gotten COVID and recovered. Thank God you still have it. I know people who are not feeling fine, who are depressed, who can't earn a living. There are quite many, especially the artists. We're doing so terribly, comedians, musicians, many who are earning top money, but because the country has been closed for 1.5 years, they're not doing well. But we have nothing to do because we didn't plan it and it's still here. So we have to reinvent ourselves. So like they say, necessity is the mother of all inventions. We have to start thinking out of the box to make sure that we move, because we can't, life is life. You can't be there without life. So we have to get a way of making sure that we get past there. And principles I live on my life is there's a deadly ad that that the late Steve Jobs did when they were starting Apple, of thinking different. And if you can go to YouTube, look for that Apple ad called Think Different. Listen to every word that was said in that advert. It will inspire you, it will move you bounds and leaps to be a better human being and to be wherever you want to be. And the little we must do, we have to do. Those are my parting shots. Wish you all the best. See you soon and God bless and love you. Thanks for tuning.
Thank you very much, Huntington Buthingo, for those very kind words to our viewers. And just for the road, you are the president of the Uganda Comedian Association. Usually, presidents in Africa don't leave offices. They change terms.
Not me.
Are you about to change terms?
Yes. We categorically made this because it is not about me or anyone. It's about showing the world or the country that actually we are very serious guys in a serious way. We are very organized. We have a constitution that we are not going to amend ever or like change never. It's going to stand. I'm supposed to lead 2 terms and each term is 2 years. So I'm into my second, but because of the pandemic we haven't held the elections and we can't now like converge and even like the quorum is not that. But once the pandemic is done, I'll present myself for my last term of election. Once I'm elected, I'll serve duly for my 2 years and I'll pass on the torch to the next person that will be elected. And we'll keep moving. This association is not about Bujingo or anyone else. It's the Uganda Comedians Association, owned nationally by all comedians who subscribe or register to it. And it will move leaps and bounds to make sure that we professionalize comedy and the creative sector industry in Uganda.
Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, you've heard it from the president right there, no changing term limits. And thank you very much for coming to the show. But to all of you guys out there, we want to say thank you so much for being part of the CEO Bench, growing bigger and better. Every single day, we reach out to all the guys in the United States. We say thank you. Arlington, of course, in the US, and of course Anthony Ndaula, Coach Anthony Ndaula in the US, and all of you guys, Professor Penina Chayo from Washington University, shout out to you, my sister, and of course to Dennis in Australia, to JB in Belgium, all of you guys, we love you, and of course to Chigula Mwendo in Germany. You are lost, but we're here. We love you guys, and until then, we want to say thank you. The CEO Bench has come to a close. Until the next CEO Bench, stay safe and stay focused. Don't lose hope. There's always the light and the road to the top. Eddie Okela, Annington Budingo, signing out.
Bronny, you're in the medical field, okay, and most of the people who are in the medical field, be it pharmacy, be it medicine itself, they always disappear. You know, they feel like there's no time. Yeah, there's no time to do
attacked.
other things. Yeah. So, how do you balance? Okay, you especially being in the medical field. Okay, how do you balance that with basketball time?
Well, okay. So, I know you know because you're my coach. You know that I'd taken the year off since COVID March because I had a lot. I have a crazy schedule. I study even on the weekends, and I just couldn't also show up for training. So many times I would show up late. Maybe I'm missing something at school to show up, or I'm doing something at school and missing training, and it was showing on the court. And I do not like to do things half-heartedly, so I decided to take a break until I can regather myself and be able to do both of them without losing any of them. But how I try to balance, people have always asked me this. Number one, it's grace of God. I wake up in the morning and I'm like, God, I need to go through this day and I need to do all these things. But it takes a lot of discipline. The things my friends are going to do, but I'll never do them because I don't have time to do it. So you have to have discipline, prioritize, know what you have to do at what time, have a timetable and follow it. No procrastination. I do not get to lay around and say, I'm not in the mood to do this. I either do it at that time or there is no other time to do it. So yeah, basically you just have to be committed, be consistent, try to make sure that you're showing up for each, and when you're there 100%. I know when I was training, I would have only evening times. I'm the kind of person that never had extra time to train past high school. So every time I was on court, I would give 100. Whether my teammates were slacking down or not, when coach said sprint, I would sprint like my life depended on it, because it's either now or never. So try to give 100, and basically at the end of the day, I just trust God for all those things.
Welcome to the program. My name is Eddie Okela, and of course my guest this morning on the CEO Bench is the one and only Dr. Apollo Burejea. Is that the correct spelling of your name?
Buregeya.
Buregeya.
Yes.
All right, welcome to the program, Apollo. And to everyone out there, we want to say thank you very much for joining us on the CEO Bench this morning, or this afternoon, or this evening, depending on which part of the world you are actually watching the CEO Bench from. And I want to take you through very briefly. Apollo is the CEO of Concrete Limited. I'm sure you've seen it in Kampala, and he has a new baby coming up called Tofali Africa Limited. Apollo, welcome to the CEO Bench.
Thank you for having me, Edwin.
You're welcome, and we want to start from a very lighter note of knowing who you are and where do you come from. Who is Apollo? Where do you come from? You know, what are your values? You know, are you Ugandan? If yes, you know, what are the values that define you as a Ugandan? Let's start from there.
Thank you, Eddie. Yes, I'm a Ugandan. I'm a civil engineer, trained from Makerere, South Africa, and Egypt, and the CEO of Eco Concrete.
Wow.
Yes, we do construction. And the whole idea of Eco Concrete is that we make construction possible for simple people.
Okay.
Yes, yes. So,
and starting from there, I know you've started from that lighter note. So, Apollo, are you Ugandan? Which part of this country do you come from?
Yes, I'm a Ugandan, both by descent and by birth.
Yeah.
By descent, I'm a Munyoro.
Okay.
It's a long story. My grandfather, great-grandfather, was separated from Bunyoro when Captain Lugard attacked Toro. I think they had Kam Kabarega, the king of Bunyoro, had sent them to occupy Toro, and then the king of Uganda went with Kasagama, the then king of Toro, to separate them, to recapture Toro. And when they recaptured Toro, it seems my great-grandfather was in Toro, and he was pushed to go and settle in Buheju. From Buheju, my grandfather shifted to Bushenyi. From Bushenyi, my father shifted to Mbarara. So now I'm Nyankore. But I think I'm, by descent, I'm a Munyoro. So I'm a Ugandan.
Yes. From Bunyoro. Yes.
But I don't know my relatives in Bunyoro.
In Bunyoro.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's how I am.
Okay.
So I can't get a wife from Bunyoro.
Why?
They might be sisters.
Okay, because you don't know the relatives. Well, it's a very important part in Africa that we actually get to know some of these things very well. Apollo, Apollo, I want to take you straight to our next question this morning, which is really about knowing, you from the leadership perspective. The program you're on right now, the CEO Bench, focuses on leadership, change management, and transformation. And we want to look at transformative leadership approach that often defines the leadership abilities of a person. And these are frequently used, terms to define the level of effectiveness of a leader. You are an engineer, civil engineer by training, and you have been in this space for a while. What is your understanding of leadership, Apollo?
I think I will avoid sounding academic.
Yes.
I bring it down to simple terms, to basic motor porters, the space I manage. When you look at leadership, I think it's the ability to bear knowledge, expose that knowledge to the people that are under your docket, to have a positive attitude that will influence them to apply the knowledge that you expose to them. So leadership starts with knowledge. You display that knowledge, communicate it, give a word. It's actually communication, it's word. That word transfers power and transfers the attitude that you carry to the people that choose to follow you, that choose to believe in the knowledge, in the content that you have. And then by doing that, I think that is the space where leadership can be demonstrated.
Well, you've actually defined leadership in the level that we often want it to be. I mean, the translation of that word that goes to people, that often influence people to follow you, influence people to say, I think I need to, work with Apollo. I think I need Apollo as a person, is key. going forward. And I think for me, that's the real definition of leadership going forward. Now that we've defined leadership, Apollo, by your understanding, we want to know, are you a leader?
I'm still I'm still under construction.
Okay.
You've seen the signage we put on sites.
Yes. Under construction.
Under construction. Yes, I am a leader.
Yeah.
I have a family that follows me. I have a workforce. I think at Eco Concrete we are about 65 people, 15 permanent staff, and then the rest are on contract basis. Yeah. And those people follow me, and that makes me a leader. So, and I tell them to do things they're supposed to do, and they do them. So, I think I'm a leader. However, I tend to define myself as an entrepreneur, and as an entrepreneur, you are constantly in the space of change. You're constantly learning, you're constantly testing yourself, you're constantly testing the ideas that you have, you're constantly with people, you're constantly trying to sell yourself to people so they can get attracted to you and come and follow you. Yeah, so that is, I'm an entrepreneur. Leader, it's natural. It will come.
Well, we can see from your background that your ancestry speaks a little bit more about leader when you talk about your grandfather and the migration and the things that happened in the days of the history of Uganda. We can see that there is a leadership, tendencies in your DNA. I want to go straight to self-leadership, Apollo. Quite a time, or quite often, we talked about leadership, but we don't know that leading self is the #1 leadership goal that everyone should look into. And self-leadership for me is very important. We want to just know from you, what is self-leadership? How have you been able to lead yourself from as an individual? First of all, what is your definition of self-leadership for somebody who is watching, who doesn't know what to do, doesn't even know whether they can lead self or not? Some people just wake up in the morning and follow whatever they are saying. Go and do this, go and do that. What is self-leadership to you, Apollo?
Here I'm going to sound a bit philosophical.
Please, go ahead.
Because yes, it's a good term to say self-leadership and self-control, self-manage, manage yourself to be able to grow and be disciplined, self-discipline. But there are two systems that run this world. There's what we call a complex system. There's what we call a complicated system. I want to break the complex system. I want to define them, give them the characteristics, and then try to show you that as a human being, you're actually not in charge. And therefore, to be able to lead yourself, you need to simulate your environment to put you in a space where you are going to find yourself where you want to be. That if the environment is not engineered, is not simulated, then self-leadership can just stop at words. You will not achieve the result you want to achieve unless the externals are fixed. So there are two systems that run this world. There is a complex system, there's a complicated system. A complex system is like human body, society, marriage, love relationship, your friends, business, weather, climate, complex system. Complicated systems are like this TV camera, a mobile phone, a car, man-made things.
Engineering.
Now,
is engineering a complicated system?
It's both complicated and complex. Now, the difference with these two systems is that if I'm driving a car and it gets a puncture, just 20 meters before it reaches a petrol station where a tire can be repaired, it's not going to say, let me shift my weight to the 3 tires and then move on, and then go 20 meters and then they fix me. No, it's going to collapse.
That's complicated.
That's complicated. And that means that complicated systems are predictable. I know how it will behave. Complex system on the other side, if I get some strain in my left leg, I'm not going to tell myself that now let me shift my weight to the right leg. It will be automatic. That means that we adapt. It's not a linear model that I can have inputs and guarantee results. Yeah. Let me use this, demonstrate this with a simple example. Yeah. You have a wife or a girlfriend. Yeah. She checks your phone, and then she finds a WhatsApp message from somebody saying, "Hi dear," and then there is war at home. And then you remember that, this wife of mine had asked me for a Mac X. And then you go and buy a Mac X, 60 million, give it to her. You have not communicated, resolved the problem, the difference. She goes and drives and goes show it off to her former boyfriend. So you've invested a lot of money, convince her to forgive you. You've not dealt with the problem. Yes. And then things escalate. She used to come back home at 5 in the evening. Now she's like, I have a Mac X, I can come back home at 10 in the night. The family is disorganized after investing a lot of money. Yes. But what if you started by buying her a flower? Like, honey, I'm sorry, 1,000 shillings. Yes. She looks at the flower, she doesn't accept. She throws it at you. You bring another one, a third one, the fourth one, she cries. Yes. She forgives you. 4,000 shillings. You have your wife back. Yes. 60 million, you lose your wife. So complex system. For you to get results, you invest small things consistently. Develop a habit. I'm coming back to leadership. Yeah. Develop a habit. Give her a flower every day. She will love you even if you're poor. But for complicated system, if I want my car to perform well, I'm not going to take it to a washing bay. I'll go and buy a new engine. So the more money you put in, the more inputs in a complicated system, the better, the higher the result. So now, when we look at ourselves as human beings, we need to appreciate and acknowledge that we are not operating a complicated system. So you're not going to sit here and say, yes, I'm going to follow this procedure, and then I'll wake up at 5. By 5:15, I'm taking coffee. By 6, I've seen those stories.
They are called routines.
Yes. A routine is going to frustrate you. So what you do is you want to develop small things around you, habits that are actually going to inspire you, to prompt you to perform certain tasks, and then in the process, then friends who are going to come and tell, I'll come and tell you, Eddie, next year I'm going to build a cement factory. People believe that when you say what you want to do, it's quite creepy, actually, weird, that don't tell people what you want to do. I find it funny. I find it limiting to even people who believe in God. That yes, you don't want to be attacked. Who tells you that there are people there wanting to attack you? And in that case, why do you want to rig systems? So develop systems around you that are going to hold you responsible, accountable, that are going to prompt you to act a certain way. So that you are consistent with your beliefs. So that is it. You cannot have a formula and then you have inputs and you expect that you are going to.
So on that note, Apollo, for those people out there who don't know even where to start from, I know you've given a very good nuggets of truth about how you develop habits and things that will translate into being, that will help you to become a person who can pick self and give self meaning and define self. Says, what I hear from you, Apollo, is you're saying those small habits you're saying you developed will translate to things that you begin to do, that you begin to believe in, that is going to take you forward. And then you're basically going to appoint self, give self meaning, and start to work with self. Now, 99% of people out there, when we do research on leadership and change management and development from a personal point of view, don't know how to walk that step. It's easier, better said, but the actions are very limiting. Apollo, just before we go for a break, we want to hear from you. We see you on the street. We see you drive. We see you in the construction sites. We see you talk. You're always writing. And somebody out there who reads your poster wondering, how is this guy able to do it?
Even in flying school, I'm going to become a pilot.
A pilot as well. Now, you see, all of this, Apollo, there's an element that the things you're talking about led you there. I want you to share this very briefly before we go for a break. The journey of Apollo moving from Apollo the child in Mbarara, somewhere with all the story you've talked about, to the journey of where you have reached, that point us to the level of this is how I found myself being led by myself to reach this level. That's somebody out there is looking for that information now.
I think you have to be ready to have scars.
Yes.
You have to be ready to enjoy failing.
Yes, yes.
You have to be ready and comfortable in failing.
Yes.
As you try to accumulate knowledge.
Yeah.
If you're not leading with knowledge, then you're not going to achieve much.
Yeah.
So it's knowledge development, trying out new things, failing, and being okay with failing, and then trusting people. And I found this challenging. It's a long curve.
Yeah.
As you employ, as you delegate so that you can grow and expand. You have to be in a space where you have to trust people and delegate so that you preserve yourself for the specific tasks that demand growth in knowledge. That's it.
Wow. Well, we're talking to Apollo, everyone out there, and I want you to get onto your mobile or your computer and share this information far and wide. We want you to actually write a comment, and kisses and disses are welcome. Apollo is definitely going to respond to you. And Apollo, Dr. Apollo Bulegea is the CEO of Concrete, Eco Concrete, and then Eco in itself means something else. And, Tofali Africa, we're going to hear more from Apollo when we come back from the break.
Le leadership, c'est quoi? Le leadership, ce n'est pas le fait d'intimider les gens ou bien de dominer les gens, non. Le leadership, c'est le fait d'aider les gens à suivre le bon chemin. Parce qu'il y a des gens qui sont là, ils ne savent même pas par quel chemin emprunter. Il y a des gens qui ont même étudié, mais ils ne savent pas quel business ils doivent faire. Maintenant, l'idée, quand tu rencontres une personne pareille, tu vas l'orienter. Non, tu peux faire mieux que ce que tu fais. Non, la peur que tu as là ne va pas te tuer. Tu peux aller au-delà de la peur. L'idée, c'est comme j'avais donné l'exemple, j'avais donné l'exemple ici en français, en anglais, pardon. La vidéo que j'avais vue à propos de chiens, il y avait un groupe de chiens au niveau du Canada et il n'y avait pas de l'eau. Pourquoi? Parce qu'il y avait, la neige, il n'y avait pas la place pour que tout le monde puisse boire de l'eau. Mais il y avait seulement une petite place pour le boss que je vais appeler. Et il ne voulait pas que les autres puissent venir boire de l'eau, comme il était boss. Il intimidait les gens. Mais il y avait un petit garçon, un petit chien qui était là à côté. Il a eu l'idée de briser la glace là où il y avait pas, parce que l'eau était en dessous et il n'y avait pas moyen de boire. Mais le petit chien a brisé et tout le monde a vu ce qu'il faisait. Ils sont venus, ils ont commencé à briser et tous ont profité avec l'eau potable. Et le boss était laissé comme un vaurien. Personne ne le faisait encore confiance parce qu'il n'était pas là pour les aider. Il était là pour le faire peur, les intimider. Mais l'idée, c'est quelqu'un qui est là pour aider quelqu'un à avancer jusqu'à son destin, à sa vision. Parce que nous avons tous nos visions, mais c'est la peur des fois qui nous arrête. Merci mon ami.
Welcome back to the program. My name is Eddie Okela, and this is the CEO Bench. My guest this morning or this afternoon or this evening, depending on which part of the world you're actually watching the CEO Bench from, is Dr. Apollo Engineer. In fact, it's Dr. Engineer Apollo Bulegea from the Eco Concrete Limited and, of course, Tofali Africa Limited, the new bed. Apollo, welcome back to the program. Before we went for a break, we were talking about self-leadership, and I want to take you mind to our next discussion on this program before we go into, dig deep about, ECO. But first, Apollo, before we even talk about change management, we want to hear from you. Perhaps just share a little bit more about what is Eco Concrete and what services do you provide you were nominated by a number of people and said, this gentleman is loud on social media, he's loud everywhere, please bring him in, let him share a lot of ideas that he has, or a few things about constructions, and this discussion is going to gear towards the construction industry from a civil engineering perspective. So let's start from there.
Eco Concrete is a complex of three products. We manufacture construction materials. We also construct, and we are also into ICT. We are trying to create digital tools that should make it possible for low-cost housing. Yeah. So when you talk of eco, of course, it comes from the ecology. You're trying to be sustainable, green. You're trying to extract less from the environment to achieve the housing needs of our communities. So that is what inspires us. But also we look at the people. We are about people. Eco Concrete is an employee-owned, managed and operated company. Each of our employees is comfortable where they are, that they represent Eco Concrete, and it represents them, it secures them. They are growing, they are learning. I am also a lecturer at Makerere, and last semester I taught 2 of my employees. They are doing masters. So I'm an employer who will meet my students, educate them, assess them. Of course, I had to first declare to my department that yes, I have conflict of interest here. My employees are doing this course. I will teach them. So we look at developing our human resource. We look at empowering them to make sure that we reduce on the cost of management, the risk of managing. So we are about people. We are about our clients. We try to, all our clients actually, we don't believe in a client coming to us and they give us money and they go away. We actually look at construction as an opportunity to teach, to skill our clients, to enable them, to give them a platform where they can build a home, connect with their children, inspire their children to develop, to understand new skills. So it's participatory, it's open source, and we intend to engage our clients to be part of the construction process. In fact, if you talk to our clients, they're part of our employee structure because they're the ones that buy their own materials. Then that is construction. Materials, of course, that's where we shine on the ecological aspects. Of course, we are looking at greening materials, both on the aspect of making durable materials so that you have more time before you go back to the environment to stress it further, but also less materials, high strength. So we are excellent in that, and we are very knowledgeable about it. You're talking about my PhD. My PhD is in concrete and cement. And it's what we applied. We apply this knowledge to help our clients. The third aspect, which is the digital tools, here we are trying to make sure that, of course, when you look at the cost of construction, almost, I'm quoting a World Bank's standard financed report, the actual costs of inputs in construction is actually at 43% of your budget of construction. Now, the balance, which is 57, accounts for the process of logistics, losses. We found that actually you are paying VAT, which is which accounts for about 14%. Now, if 14% or 43% is not 18%, so that means it's double taxation. So a lot of processes are going on that cause us to lose money, and we think that by applying the tools of the fourth industrial revolution, those are digital tools, ICT, I think we can streamline the processes of construction and understand where the problems are and refine them for our clients. And I think that's how we'll be able to achieve our objective of having low-cost housing. People keep talking about low-cost housing. We don't believe that low-cost housing should mean low-quality housing. We think the quality...
that is what we think is, when you say low-cost housing, it's supposed to be the cheapest material,
No, material costs, normally, it's matter. Materials should be maintained at a standard quality, meeting standards. And actually, when you look at cheap material, poor quality material, the components that make poor quality materials are the same components that make very good quality materials. It's just knowledge. So we want to excel in that, deliver high quality at affordable cost. And we want to attack the people. Indeed, when they talk about low cost, they target material. See, chifufu blocks. No, the enemy, the evil, is in the detail of 57%, which is in the process of construction that does not cover the inputs. So the inputs are okay. Yeah.
Well, Apollo, thank you so much. This obviously is a very interesting show today that we're having right now. I want to take you straight, Apollo, to... You speak very passionate about construction. You speak very eminently about construction and knowledgeable in that space as well. Let's go back to your civil engineering and the journey into the civil engineering space. Your CV talks of 20 years plus into that space. You have a master's degree and a PhD to show for it, and of course there's a bachelor there. Now let's go back to Apollo as a child. How did you end up as an engineer?
It's actually a long journey to become an engineer. I did not pass. I got some B's.
At what level?
I got some B's, but then I had decided to do civil engineering. So I ended up going to do a diploma first. I didn't want to do any other course. So I did a diploma.
But I want to take you straight back before you get to the diploma.
So
primary school, what were you? Were you playing toys, constructing?
I'm lucky. I was born privileged. My father had resources, and he managed to take my siblings and I to good boarding primary schools, where we passed. We went to Ntare School. The boarding primary school was Bwerenyanji. Bwerenyanji is a girls' school, secondary, but the primary school is a mixed school. Some of my siblings went to Nganwa Primary School. Those are schools, good schools in the western part of the country. So we came to Ntare. We excelled in Ntare. Senior for meanwhile would go back to the village. I had never crossed the first junction of Mbarara town, now Mbarara city, so to come to Kampala. So senior 4, I decided I needed to come to Kampala. It was fun.
What year was this?
That is 1996. So I decided to come to Kampala. I remember the headmaster, because I was performing well in school. So the headmaster called me and told me, you're one of the people we want to maintain here, and if you don't put here your first choice, we don't want you to put your second choice. So I said, okay. So I put my first choice somewhere else. I had heard about Makerere College. I said, I'm going to come to Makerere College. I left Ntare, which was an environment that had helped me manage myself to excel. I came to Makerere College. I found a different environment. They put me in a hall called Black House, which was in the center of Makerere University, and I would be locked inside, and I'm seeing university students having fun. So the environment changed, and I lost self-management, and therefore I did not perform well. But I knew what I wanted to become. So when time came for filling in the choices, I chose civil engineering for Makerere University, and then put zeros. You know, there were coding forms. So I put 0 zeros, and my teachers called me, and I told them, no, if I don't get Makerere University, I'll go to Chambogo. By then it was a polytechnic. I'll do a diploma in civil engineering, finish.
Then come back.
Indeed, of course, at
was
all
somebody guiding your thinking around this area?
No.
Because you're quite young to be able to think.
No,
you're very definitive in that area.
I wanted civil engineering. I'd interacted with my uncle who was a quantity surveyor. He had convinced me that civil engineering is
the place to go.
Is a very good course. It's the oldest course. It was the first course God introduced on earth.
Yes.
So I liked civil engineering. So I went to Chambogo, spent my 2 years, did a diploma. It helped me because when I came to Makerere then, I was mature.
So hold it right there. So you went to Chambogo University to do your diploma. This was because your first choice, your first love of Makerere University as a bachelor course did not come through.
Did not come
in your
through.
senior six.
Yes.
All right, let's proceed from there.
Yes.
Because I wanted to make sure this is clear, because most times those who are watching this program think that if you put your first choice as civil engineering and it doesn't come, that's it. Some people get frustrated, don't know where to start from, and give up and say, you know what, I am done.
No, of course, if you want to make good things out of your life, you must be patient.
Yes.
To respect processes. Some processes are long.
Yes.
You must be very patient.
Let's go back to
So I went to, by then it was Uganda Polytechnic Chambogo. 99, 2001, I got my diploma, started working. I worked for 8 months. I was lucky I got an employer who was a graduate of Makerere University. He respected education. He employed me, empowered me.
Civil engineering?
Civil engineering. He gave me projects. I did a lot of works in Western Uganda, Rakai, the water system, supply system of Rakai, the intake plant. I'm the one who did it as the foreman there. I was empowered. I did a lot of good projects. And I learned a lot because I was on ground. I was pushing wheelbarrows, seeing how they are breaking and wasting materials. So picking that skill, then I came to Makerere. I tried mature age entry. I was just becoming 25. Got admitted on government sponsorship. So when I reached Makerere at my age of 25, it was easy. I was mature. I was not excited. I started performing well. The lecturers also saw me as a mature person. They could communicate with me very well. I finished my bachelor's. I had experience. I enrolled immediately for master's. When I started master's, I was approached that I could start teaching. So I started lecturing at Makerere, got on board, finished, got some postgraduate diplomas in Egypt. I've traveled a lot, and then later I went to South Africa and did my PhD.
So all of this journey from Makerere University, when you finally came back for your bachelor's, you stopped whatever you're doing, the practical work. Did you stop at some point and went into teaching and skilling people and sharing that knowledge, or you continued?
I've never stopped construction. I kept doing construction, but I also love knowledge. So I kept reading, working hard, teaching, sharing knowledge, and I think the reason people recommended me for this show is because I share knowledge. So I kept sharing knowledge, I kept teaching, and of course, teaching, I liked it because it gave me an opportunity to grow more in knowledge. So construction, yes, it was scaled a bit, but I kept my hands in the field.
Okay. You talked about Apollo just before we go for the second break. You talked about, the water system and making sure that the Rakai part of the western part of Uganda leading towards the part of Tanzania, which, if I understand very well, the water system there, which means you were engineering at some point in water, and then you went into concrete, and then now I supposed we're going to see you in dams and power and whatever that is in that space. But my question to you, Apollo, why not road construction? Why not this other division of engineering? Why concrete and construction housing?
I think I chose concrete. I did a master's in water resources engineering. That's why many people know me
from the water part.
From the for the information I shared about the water systems of Lake Victoria, and that was the master's. but then after what I found out at Masters, I chose to do a PhD in an area where I could start with little capital.
Okay.
So to develop a company to construct roads, you need a lot of capital.
Yeah.
So I decided to focus on accumulating knowledge in an aspect of engineering that requires low capital to enter. Yeah. So that is what determined what I did.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
We're going to take a break, Apollo, and when we come back, we want to look into change management. And the change management will look at the change and the development of management within self, a business, or a similar organization, or at the nation level. How would you help us to understand how have you been able to manage this within yourself? Obviously, you have a body of knowledge that not very many people out there have or would share, and you happen to be the second engineer in or on this program called the CEO Bench. The first one we had was the engineer Andrew Chitaka, the former executive director of KCCA. You happen to be the second engineer. So we want to take a break, and when we come back, we want to be able to dive deep into change management and management of change and the decision-making process before we wind up the show with transformation in the construction business, where we'll be able to show a little bit of your work so that people can actually understand that the stuff you're talking about, you are actually practicing. Stay right there. I'll be right back after this break. This is the CEO Bench, Ed Yokila, and Dr. Engineer Apollo Bridge here from the Eco Concrete and Tofali, talking about transformational leadership in the construction industry. We'll be right back after this.
You see, it's like a ship. You just talked about a ship. A ship without a compass in an ocean or in a lake will go anywhere. It has no sense of direction, no timing of where it's going and when it will get there or whatever. Leadership begins as a personal thing. The reason why we have a society that is getting messed up with so many things happening and we're seeing corruption happening is because leadership is failing from a personal level. You are corrupt as an individual and you pride in it because you are gaining more. You go home, your children are seeing that and thinking that is the way of life. Community and society is saying, this guy is a good guy, he's a rich guy, he's the man of society. And society is now beginning to agree to that being a norm. That's now where the problem starts. So let's just go back to your question. Leadership begins from your personal compass, your true north. Why are you on earth? What's your purpose? When you walk out of here, how do you impact on people? Or how do you want people to remember you? Nowadays people are dying and all people can say is, we had a good time with that guy, but beyond that, what next? And then you find the same people coming to bury you, then after that they even actually have a drink up after that and life goes on. You'll never be remembered. But just think about this, and let me just give you a simple example of Mother Teresa. Mother Teresa was a 4-foot lady, very short lady. She was a teacher. People think teachers have no impact. She was a teacher. On her way to school to teach, she was so disturbed by the number of young children who were hungry on the streets, having no sense of direction. One day, she just woke up, went to the principal and said, you know what? Kalas, I'm done. I am going to feed the children of the world. The principal laughed. He said, you small woman, first of all, what money do you have? You think feeding the world is? But when you think of Mother Teresa today, what do you think of? The woman who tried to feed the world. Her mission still exists way beyond her. Going back to the same principle of people. People and purpose. And you see, purpose cannot be from outside or without. You don't tell me that this is your purpose or toa. No, it comes from within. And leaders are very crazy people. Yeah? It's the same somebody who read a newspaper and he got pissed off and went and, on the streets and went and joined the bush. Yeah. They talk about people like Fidel Castro and all these people who... Leaders are people who just get angry with what is happening and make a commitment to make a difference.
There's a lot that is involved in the civil society organizations. There's leadership in itself, there's management of processes, there's management of the human resource, there's fundraising, there's research. It's a lot that needs to be done, and many times there is a feeling that is too much for a woman, because she has other traditional roles that she needs to do as at home. So many times as people are looking for leaders in civil society organizations, the priority is usually given to men, because of our society that feels that men have the time, men have the capacity, men have the ability to lead, to take this organization to greater heights. And women, there will be a problem. They will have to go to maternity leave. They have issues. They are too emotional. They have not done the courses that are good enough for leaders. They don't have time to to go for extra learning, or to go for work outside Kampala, because they have to tend to their children. So there's too much that society has tied around a woman. And it's true, we have these traditional roles that we have to do, but does not in any way mean that women cannot lead in these spaces.
Welcome back to the program. My name is Eddie Okela, and this is CEO Bench, of course, with Dr. Engineer Apollo Buregeya from Eco Concrete and Tofali, Africa. Apollo, welcome back to the program. Before we went for a break, we were talking about the journey of Eco Concrete and your engineering journey as well. What a very, inspiring story right there and journey. A lot of us don't know that walking through the process and not cutting to the progress is very important. We often, most Ugandans, most Africans particularly, we like to bypass process for progress. Your journey of saying, you know what, I want civil engineering, and if I don't get, it doesn't matter, I'll go through diploma and then come back to bachelor and then go up there. We can see the resilience right there. I want to draw your attention, Apollo, to change management. And this program talks about leadership, change management, and transformation. Today, we are actually talking about change management and transformational leadership in the construction industry. And that's where we're going with Apollo. Apollo, change and management of change within self, business, and organization, or the nation. What is your understanding of change management, and how have you been able to apply it in your journey to where you are? When people are laughing at you and saying, look at this one, you failed, and now you can't join us in this first year, and then you come back to Makerere when you're 25, and I'm sure you're employing some of these people. You even talked about some of your employers coming and you becoming a teacher to them. All of these are change management. How do you remain sane? First of all, what is your understanding of it, and how have you been able to manage change?
I think, Eddie, change, this is the standard statement. Change is a fact of life. And we change to survive. You must adapt, you must change if you want to survive. If you don't change, then nature...
They say change will change you.
Nature will eliminate you. So it's natural that we change in our biology, in our thinking, and in enterprises that we do. I did not start with Eco Concrete. I said I have so many scars that I carry to be where I am now. So change, you only remain ahead in change management when you are able to grow in knowledge. If you're not learning, if you're not growing in knowledge, then you're not going to find yourself in a space of stability in change. We need to also understand that change actually, especially growth, can destroy. That you can find an opportunity, take it up, but before you grow internally as a person, in knowledge and intelligence, and also understanding, and also scale your environment to adapt the new change. I think it's going to it's going to be very expensive for you to grow and embrace this opportunity, because it can lead to collapse. So it starts with you understanding that yes, you have to grow in knowledge, and you have to take time. And change happens in the complex domain, that things have to adapt. So you have to take time to understand the change you are getting into. And you have to be comfortable in this space of change, that when it comes, you do not become rigid. So you move quickly, you understand your resources, and then you start looking at what new resources you need to bring on board, and what resources you need to eliminate. Constantly we make friends, and constantly we drop friends. And we need to be comfortable about it. The friends you had in primary school are no longer with you. You have new friends. You are my friend now. A year ago, you didn't know me. So that is how nature is. A tree grows, loses branches. The branches feed this tree. But if it wants to grow tall, then you have to lose some branches and get new branches and move on. That's how you're able to manage change and stay on top of your game.
Well, thank you so much, Datun Apollo, for that. Now, change requires that you communicate. Have you been employed before, Apollo? And if yes, how were you able to manage the change, and the communication of that change from, a moment you say, you know what, gentlemen and ladies of this great organization, I think I have reached this moment where I need to move from this point to the next level. And please allow me this opportunity to go. Or you just come and say, I've outgrown this organization, I am done, I am going, the salary, first of all, is very small. That's how most of us say or do. And then we had Mr. Toa Tony here saying, I always make sure I communicate change management very clearly and manage the process of change very clearly so that I can go back to the same organization and be a consultant. And he said, I left Total Uganda and I went back as a consultant with Total and see where I am right now. But many of us don't know how to communicate this change. So there's that change from you as Apple. Have you been employed before? How were you able to manage the change from one place to the next? 2, we want to know from you, how do you communicate to a complex employer who you are everything to them? The moment you announce you are going, they make life so hard for you that you can't go. And they say you are never going to be successful in that job, even if you go. So most people's dreams have died because they can't move. And then 3, change at the organization. Sometimes as a business owner, people just decide to leave you and you don't know how to manage change. And some people have just crashed, the business crashes and things end there. Let's dive into it, Apollo.
I think, Eddie, it's relationship you're talking about. That first of all, if you have a healthy relationship with yourself, if you value yourself, if you have dignity, then you're going to be in a space of work that relates well with you, that respects your input, that respects your word, that values you as a person, and also your skills and competences that you bring on the table. Now, that is a healthy relationship. If the relationship is not healthy, it's going to be a struggle. I'm still employed. I'm an employee of Makerere University. I still work there, and I still have bosses. And I told you when I had my employees, in my class, I had to run to my head of department and declare a conflict of interest. And until they came to me and told me, you see, the law says once you declare the conflict of interest, make sure you are going to educate these employees and protect yourself.
Yes.
And actually, it was good. I was lucky I traveled to South Africa for a month. So I trained and examined when I was not around. So nobody accessed my laptop and saw my exam.
Yes, and said that, no, you cheated for your students.
So it starts with you valuing what you bring on the table. If you have value for your employer, then you're going to find it easy to communicate with them, to have your demands met, and find that you're comfortable. And then they will also be able to respect that as an individual you need to grow. I wouldn't work for somebody who is going to feel bad when I've left. No, I want them to wish me well. We train machine operators at Eco Concrete. And whenever moving around these new block yards, I find my trainees, former employees, running the yards, doing well. And for me, it's a celebration, because why do we do business? If you define why you're doing a business, then you'll find that you're not going to conflict with your workers. We do business to add value to society. If it was that we want to make money, I would get my 20 million. I've met somebody. I have a client who I built a house for. She started with 1.5 million. She's a money lender. So she gave me 300 million. All of a sudden, go and finish a house. Finished it in 6 months. Nice house. She entered it. She started with 1.5 million. She doesn't have any human resource. She lends money. Simple. So if it was about money that we do business, then it would be easy. We wouldn't need to employ these people. But you're doing business to build society, to put your society above, so that your children and the environment they grow in is a secure environment. It has a social aspect, it has an aspect that touches your country, so that you create jobs for people, so that people leave you when they are better than the way they came. So you don't want to hold on to a person. And if you are good, you're okay, your employees are not going to run away from you. So I have employees who I've interacted with, I've related with, and trained, shared with. They are comfortable with my leadership, because when they run to me, they find solutions. As a leader, you must
be a solution finder and a solution giver for your people.
So they find solutions. They don't find me stuck. So, and I'm able to help them, empower them, grow. So it starts with how you relate with your bosses. If a company does not value you, then you're in the wrong place. So you're going to conflict. But if it values your input, then when time comes for you to go, they will tell you, we value you, we appreciate you, we think you've grown, we think you're going to contribute to where you're going. So I don't find it a problem. It's an issue of relationship and communication.
Wow. Apollo, that said, and I just want to read you a couple of comments that came a little bit earlier when we are talking. One gentleman said from the US, thank you very much, first of all, for coming to the program. He said that he was at Makerere with you, and he finds you a very switched on person of your time, or of our time. But he had a question. And he said, ask Apollo, a lot of buildings have been collapsing in Uganda. As a civil engineer, what is causing many of these buildings collapsing in Uganda? And people have lost their lives. It means that the engineering system in Uganda either doesn't work, according to him. Of course, now he lives in the US. That's a bit of a harsh language. Or for engineers, or people just don't know what to do, what is right. And so he said, my question to Apple is a very refined speaker, he's talking a nice stuff, I think we should hear. Why is he not in this organization or working for KCC where the buildings are collapsing? Yes.
But it's change management. Yes. I think we need to appreciate the level of commerce we have in our society, and how commerce affects everything. When you go to Dubai, They are putting up mega structures, very good infrastructure, 21st century quality. And it's because they have a stronger commerce. They have more money. When you dig deeper, you'll find that the people that are building these tunnels under the oceans are actually engineers from the Netherlands. They are porters from Bangladesh. It's foreign labor. And the Emirates, I don't think they have a university that produces excellent engineers. I haven't heard about one. However, as a lecturer at Makerere, we produce refined engineers, very good quality engineers. But you're putting them in a commerce structure that is struggling. And because it is struggling, there are things that are going to go wrong until we improve our commerce to be able to afford processes, to be able to afford regulation. For example, taking you back to the smallest, we make cement to a standard, which is a European standard. And then we use that cement to bond chifufu bricks. Bricks that are produced in a swamp, not following any quality management plan, not produced to any standard. Yet we have a standard for bricks and blocks. So now when you look at getting a good material which is standardized, and you combine it with a material that is not standard, then the output, which is a house, which is your desired goal, is not going to be a standard house. It's going to be very hard for you to control the quality of the house that you put on the market. So that is, it's a problem of commerce. The second problem is the problem of technology, and I've emphasized this a lot, that we are in Africa with our commerce, but we do not own our technology, we do not own our knowledge. We import both knowledge and technology here, and we make a mistake of importing this knowledge and technology that is designed for a commerce structure of Europe. Let me give a simple example, which I keep sharing. You have let's take Germany. A bag of cement in Germany, high-end, good quality cement. We achieve here, we buy at 48,000 shillings. It was going to go for 3 euros. 3 euros, that's about 12,000 shillings. So somebody buys a bag of cement in Germany to construct at 3 euros. Here you're going to buy it at 11, 12 euros. When you hire a mason in Germany to consume that bag of cement to construct a wall, you're going to pay them 25 euros per hour. So they're going to spend 2 hours consuming one bag of cement of 3 euros, and they will charge you 50 euros. 2 hours. So for them, the motivation for making standards, for making technology is no longer material minimization. It is labor minimization. Actually labor elimination. So they go and say, let's have a machine that does work for a human being. Let's print houses. Let's eliminate labor in carrying concrete. Let's make concrete pumps. Let's make these machines. One person should do work of 50 people because they are fighting the 50 euros against the 3 euros. Now, to adopt this technology, you need to lift the cost of 3 euros up higher. They don't mind making cement 6 euros. How do you make 6 euros? You're adding in some chemicals to make that cement usable in the technology they have made. So you find if you're making concrete, to pump it, you need agents that stabilize concrete so that the water and the sand and the stones do not mix. So you need some starch, some agent that's going to hold the concrete together. You need chemicals that are going to reduce the water. You don't want too much water, otherwise as you pump, water is going to go alone and then stones stay alone. So you need what we call water reducing admixtures. You need super plasticizers. You need so many things. Now this technology costs $1 million to have. So when you go and buy this technology from Europe and bring it here, where now cement is 11 euros, labor is half a euro, you're not making sense.
Yes.
So you come here, labor is cheap, so you put a
Material is there, yes.
million here. If you're going to add in the chemicals to make your cement usable in the technology you've brought from Germany, it's no longer going to be 11, it's going to be 22 euros.
Yes.
Now, you already have $1 million you've invested in plant. The cost of money is also added. So what we see is that some of these ready-mix plant concrete providers are trying to take shortcuts because there's pressure to recover money. Yet I can make concrete on site with the mix of 10,000 of 100,000 shillings. So the same product can be made with 100,000 shillings technology. Yet you have $1 million technology, and it has a demand that you have to recover. The money.
Because the investment here, the capital investment here is very intense.
Yes, and the motivation for this investment makes sense because somebody was fighting the 50 euros.
Yes.
So when we do not possess our technologies, and then also the standards are the same. For example, when you look at in construction, guy will come and tell you we need steel bars in kilograms. If you look at the invoice from roofings, it's set in kilograms.
Yes.
So a guy will tell you we need concrete in cubic meters. But when you reach on site, you're buying bags of cement, you're buying trips of sand. So why should I give you concrete in cubic meters? Why don't I break it into bags of cement? The reason is that process adds in labor. So they want a process, in Europe, they prefer a process that eliminates labor. Go to a batching plant, buy concrete. Don't buy cement bags, But that's not how our commerce structure is. And therefore, we need processes, we need standards, we need systems that are going to empower us to make savings. And that's where our digital platforms come in to make sure that, because we understand the commerce, that's where they come in to make sure that we actually save people money.
Wow. Well, we are on the CEO bench with Apollo Engineer, Dr. Engineer Apollo Burijia from the Eco Concrete right there, talking some really serious stuff. Apollo, our time is fast spent, but we're going to end up with transformation. I already have a very interesting comment here saying, Edio Killer, I already vote that gentleman to come back to the program. That process he has talked about is what we need to talk about. Can we have engineers come and talk about constructions? I have had a situation where I've lost a relative in construction, and it wasn't okay because people were not giving us the right information. Why is it that people like this gentleman on the show are not there? We can't see them when we're looking for them. So maybe Apollo, you guys in the engineering world need to be able to do something that allows the common man watching the program to actually understand. I've got a very interesting message here coming from Edwin. Another friend of mine, Edwin, is a very serious guy, lived and worked in Germany. Says, thank you very much. What he has said is on point. That is how things here run. In fact, construction here is done by self. We do a lot of DIY.
Do it yourself.
Yes, do it yourself. I think it's the meaning, but DIY, do it yourself. And he's talking about it and says, but in Africa, everything is dependent on the person. And sometimes the cost of hiring the person is less. Here, the cost of hiring a person is 10 times. So it's better for you to get some of these skills. Can we have what they are talking about continue? Now, my question to my friend right there, up on the show, engineer, thank you very much for coming. Is Makerere University actually working hard to make sure this is sorted? Perfect. I think he's looking forward to the answer of, do we have some of these things coming in place that you're talking about? And if I understand his question very well, he's saying, why is it that Makerere University is not translating this to the reality of what you're talking about? And then the next question that has come in is from another gentleman. He says, thank you very much for bringing Apollo onto the program. I think for me, as an engineer, this is my best program so far. I enjoyed the interview with Engineer Chitaka. It was a great interview. Good to have Apollo there. My question, though, goes to Apollo. As an engineer, we don't like to support each other. I don't know whether Apollo is open to somebody coming for mentorship at his place. Now that he's a lecturer at Makerere, perhaps he would be the best place to start from. All right, Apollo. As you can see already, people talking about this, but I want to take you straight to a systematic identification and implementation of necessary changes that you're talking about within self, business, and a similar organization. And we'll close this with what is your understanding of transformation? We're talking about transformation in the construction industry. Okay, and you obviously have a transformative leadership approach in the construction industry. Apollo, question is, how do we implement the things you're talking about? And we want to show some of the work that you're talking about so people can actually see it and relate to it. And you will end up by taking us through a process of, when you talk about concrete, putting the foundation. I have a question here where somebody says the foundation of the buildings in Uganda are always not done very well. And that's a problem itself. How do we get that sorted out? But first, dive into it. Controlled identification, systematic identification and implementation of the things you're talking about.
I think you have to start. You have to start, accumulate knowledge, understand that we are actually at a stage in life, as Africans, as sub-Saharan Africans, a stage in life where we are going to shine. All these challenges we have are also opportunities for us to embrace, and that's what we are doing at EcoConcrete. Make things understandable, communicate the change that you want, communicate the transformation that you want. Let it be with your employees, let it be with your clients, promise them something, because nature is that our minds ask for what they know. So educate the transformation that you need to see. Transfer it into other people's minds so that they see it. Once they see it, then it's going to be easy for you to ask for resources to implement it. I think it's start and then be innovative. Understand your environment, understand your resources, communicate well, and then also get exposure. Be exposed. The moment you go out, you are able to understand what other people are doing within the environments, how they're adapting the environments, and then you're able to relate with the environment and understand how you're going to adapt with the environment. So that is what we are doing at EcoConcrete. We are trying to reach our clients, and some of our clients, we refuse to do some things because we know better. And some of them come back to us and they're like, okay, we prefer that you give us what you said you'd give us because of this. Others go and when you take shortcuts and then they call us later and it's very painful. Recently I visited a school. They used this common construction technology of method of using pipes, hollow pipes, and then you weld them together and form beams and wood, and then you cast on top and move. And they did 2 floors. They wanted to add on the 3rd floor. And because the people who are implementing this method do not follow a certain design criteria, so once the building became tall, it was a narrow building, a classroom, 2 levels. I think it had some lateral movements. And once it had these lateral movements, remember these are sections, pipes welded onto each other. So, and then you're filling them with blocks.
Disaster in waiting.
So cracks happened. So I went there, they called me, they're like, the engineer disappeared, he's no longer in the country. We don't know where he is, and then we want to know whether we can add on to this structure.
But it's already wobbling.
Yes. So my advice to them was now, and people could understand. So told them the moment you add on another floor, the dancing will increase. And therefore these cracks are going to open wider. So doing things without, those are our challenges. Doing things without proper thinking and designing. Yeah. So we need to engage. We need to be able to share these transformations we want to deliver and get people to understand us.
Wow.
Once people understand, they will follow you. The movement. Yeah.
There was a question about mentorship. Are you open for mentoring somebody?
We are growing very fast. We want to relate with people, especially technical people. So if there are people who believe they have some skills they want to apply and they want to be guided on developing those skills, yes, we are open to them. The first skill, I don't know whether it's a skill, it's attitude. When somebody has very positive attitude, we welcome them, and then we'll create opportunities for them to grow, and we'll teach them. I am open source. I share knowledge. I believe that that's how I can only immortalize myself, by making sure that what I know, everybody else knows it. Yes, so we are open for mentorship.
Well, thank you very much, Apollo. It's the CEO bench and Dr. Engineer Apollo Burejea from Eco Concrete right there talking to us on the CEO bench this particular edition. Apollo, before we go, close the show, we want to go through some of your work. It will be a disservice if we bring you on the show and we don't see the processes you go through. And we want you to take us through these processes so that people understand. You're a concrete expert. That's something that we have finally been able to identify in this program, not just by the fact that your CV talks of it or your profile talks about it, but by practice. We want to put some pictures up and you take us through. What is a typical process of building a house that will stand and last eternity? Buildings have collapsed in Kampala. The biggest questions here have been about building collapse in Kampala. Start, for example, that picture right there. What's going on? I don't know whether that is the first picture, but we'll start from there and then go through all of them until we see a building that is actually complete. Take us through.
I think here we are finishing a foundation.
Okay.
Yes, and trying to deal with soil around it.
Yes.
You notice the ground floor slab is already cast.
Yes.
The foundation is below, and then we have some columns up, and we are going to the next slab.
So what is this gentleman doing?
This gentleman is trying to backfill and compact. I think at that point he was trying to open the bars to create an extra column that starts at that point to support to reduce on the span. At some point we realized that we could reduce on the number of bars in the beam up by creating a short column and making the costs lower for the client.
And the next one, if you look at the picture which is coming, the next picture,
it shows that yes, we work hard. We work. There's no shortcuts. We are people who are courageous, with light in our competencies, with light in our knowledge. We want to. We don't take shortcuts. Yes. So that's Bwaji. That is one of my good foremen. He's now in Gulu building a hotel, which is going to be a good hotel.
So we see this building now beginning to go up there. A lot of buildings that has collapsed whenever they go to this past stage. What is your say?
Of course, from the perspective of concrete, you want to manage quality. If there is a quality management plan on a site, it starts with design. You know that the designs are good, and then you look at the quality of the materials that are being made. You make sure that the quality of materials is right, and then of course in a construction business, like any other business, you're relying on people. You rely on the processes, then you have materials. So the people also have to be the right people who are going to deliver good quality works. So we look at the people, we look at the design, we look at the material and how we manage the quality of these materials to make sure that nothing escapes us. Yes.
Apollo, a lot of some of these questions we're talking about, thank you very much for taking us through that, but there are some pictures we want to go through the process and see when the building actually moved from down to the first floor to the ground floor. If you would just take us through this, what level of this is for somebody who is constructing it?
This is a basement. After we put we put a ground floor slab,
yes,
which was at a level on the upper side, and then after the ground floor slab, first floor, second floor, and third floor.
So now this is the level, which is very complex. Normally it collapsed here.
This is the basement slab. Ours do not collapse because we know what we are doing. Yeah. So that is me there, trying to meditate on the plan to make sure that no mistake is done. So that was the basement, the ground floor slab that we are casting, and then this building is continuing up to 11 floors. So that's why the columns are big. So this is a project in Chisenyi. It's under construction.
This is going to 11 floors?
No, this is 7 floors.
Okay, and then when you look at the next building there, so this is a commercial building by your standards. So this is basically, how do we get to this point?
This is a residential house. The owner is in New York. He trusted us. We delivered. He came and got married, and we had a party there, and he left the country now. He's back in New York. But a Ugandan.
And finally, Apollo, what would be your final parting shot today to all of us watching the program all across, from one, as a teacher, 2, as a CEO, 3, as a person who like to share knowledge with people? What is that one thing that you want to leave us with on this program that we will remember you for, and we can start practicing based on the leadership, change management, and transformation we've talked about, but also from the, your experience as a CEO, employing over 60 people, and as well as teaching millions of people at the university?
I think, Eddie, I'm not going to spend a lot of time. I want to say that there's a saying that a single raindrop never thinks that it is responsible for the flood that we see in the valley. I want to encourage people that we all matter. We all have a responsibility to improve the quality of life we have as Ugandans, especially, but also as Africans. And that greed, corruption, praising illegitimacy will end up actually punishing ourselves. We end up killing ourselves. We end up squandering the opportunities of the people that will come in future. We need to know that just like a single drop of rain contributes to the flood, we need to have a mindset that is going to be focused on contributing to a flood of positive transformation of our society. Start by appreciating that you need to change your values, be honest, work hard, don't cheat, don't take shortcuts, because when you do, if now somebody entered here and gave you $1 million, it confuses you and it gets you disorganized. But if you've earned it, then your internal environment prepares for it, and then you find you in a comfortable space. So as Ugandans and Africans, we need to choose to work hard, avoid shortcuts, take an organic path. It gets us there.
Wow. Well, thank you very much, Apollo, for, first of all, accepting to come on the CEO bench today, and thank you for sharing your experience and your journey with us and giving us opportunity to be able to listen to you. I want to say thank you very much to everyone out there for coming onto the program today and giving Apollo the opportunity to speak and giving us the opportunity to share with Apollo. And it has come to that moment where we have to spread the love. So there's something we do here where we spread the love to people. We have to do it one more time. It's brought about by Pastor Joshua Martin Mugabe. It says, spread the love whenever you come into the program. The CEO bench has come to an end. Thank you very much, Apollo. And looking forward to sharing a lot more with you. Share it far and wide. We'll be right back with the next episode. And of course, Apollo is going to be coming back onto the program. He already has some nominations. So share it far and wide. Edio Killer. Dr. Engineer Apollo Buregia signing out from the CEO bench. Until then, keep it locked to the CEO bench.
My name is Dr. Jinpo Olowo. Thank you for watching House of Talent Television. I love to inspire people. I love to talk about my experiences and how God has been able to use me in the different exposures. And through the leadership, through change management and transformation, I've been able to do a couple of things in my life. Now, are you a kind of person who is tired of your status quo? Do you want your situation to change? Are you tired of what is going on in your life? You know, change is a fact of life. We've all been through experiences in the last couple of months that have taken us to a place where we need to do something about our lives. We need to change whatever is going on. So if you have not piled up investment for yourself, you need to do that. If you've not done businesses to hold your family in future, you need to do that. Are you thinking of full-time employment? You need to be thinking about your life after employment or your business in the next couple of years. So if you want us to chat, if you want us to talk about this, please get in touch with us at SEAL Uganda on number 0772443085 or check our website www.sealuganda.com, or on all the social media handles. You can hook me up or Facebook, that is Jinpo Olowo, on Instagram, Jinpo Olowo, and on Twitter and LinkedIn. Then we can chat a way forward with you. We can help you, we can coach you, we can walk with you this journey of financial freedom. Thank you.